Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. After having a baby with my wife in my dream, they all came true. Chapter 61. Inside the house. Lin Chuan put his hand on the victim Julian's eyebrows. 9 snow-white fox-tails swayed behind him, and the power of his soul locked the entire room. Yu Lian's facial features soon became ferocious, and a black energy burst out of her body and fled into the distance. It would be difficult for an ordinary monk to capture this black energy, but in Lin Chuan's eyes, it was invisible. Lin Chuan did not suppress the black energy and followed the black energy directly to pursue the demon cultivator. As he expected, the location of the demon cultivator's body was very close to Julian's house, and it was actually hiding in an abandoned dry well. "It's the Demon Slayer division again, why are you ruining my good deeds?" The demon cultivator roared hysterically. Lin Chuan looked at Mo Shu, who was holding a baby in his arms, wrapped in thick cloth, and the exposed face looked extremely strange. The baby has no eyes, and the empty eye sockets are like a bottomless black hole. Ghost baby. In the reincarnation of Forbidden Love, Lin Chuan was also born as a ghost baby, born with one soul missing. The baby in front of him seemed to be in a more serious condition. He had no breath of life, and his soul was hung up by a breath of resentment and obsession. "Don't talk about my child." The demon cultivator let out a shrill roar. "It's all you. It's all you who hurt my child like this. You deserve to die." Lin Chuan's words, "ghost baby," completely angered the demon cultivator, who held the child in one hand and came to kill him with a whip in the other. Lin Chuan did not answer the demon cultivator's words, and the Yongsan divine sword was unsheathed. His swordsmanship, which did not belong to the soaring realm at all, was displayed with great proficiency. In just a dozen rounds, the demon cultivators in the reborn realm were suppressed. Buzz! With a sword cry, the Yongsan sword burst out, and the sword pierced the demon cultivator's left shoulder, nailing him to the stone wall in the dry well. The other party still wanted to struggle, but Lin Chuan's fingers had already landed on Gui Ying's eyebrows. "If he moves again, I'll kill him." As Lin Chuan's cold voice rippled away, the demon cultivator did not dare to move any more. Threatening the ghost baby's life, this trick worked very well. Although the ghost baby has died long ago, and only a breath of resentment is left to hang on the remnant soul, but in the eyes of the mother, the child is still alive. "No, don't kill my son," the demon cultivator begged. Lin Chuan took action, sealed the demon cultivator's spiritual power, tied his hands and feet, and snatched the ghost baby from his arms. As for the reason behind the demon cultivator's rebellion, he was not going to ask. Most likely, the child of the demon cultivator encountered some injustice or suffering, causing the other party to go to extremes. There may be a bigger push behind the scenes. If you want your son to live, just follow me honestly. The Demon Slayer division will naturally arrange for other people to take charge of the investigation and reasoning, and Lin Chuan does not want to waste time on this. The next night, Lin Chuan took the demon cultivator and the ghost infant back to the Yandu demon slaying division and handed them over to the company's boss Zhu Zhengji. The mission was completed much faster than I expected, and we were even captured alive. Not bad. Zhu Zhengji spoke highly of Lin Chuan. "Have you asked about the reason for the demon cultivator's rebellion?" "No." Lin Chuan shook his head. "I am only responsible for arresting people." Zhu Zhengji was surprised. Usually when a demon slayer catches a troublemaker, he must interrogate it first. If he can find out any major clues, it will be considered a credit. He has never met anyone who can resist asking. He could only understand that this boy had a strong background and didn't care about small achievements. The mission has been completed. If there are no other instructions from the company, I will go back to sleep first. Lin Chuan yawned. Zhu Zhengji's face darkened. "You kid, the world is big, how can you sleep the best?" Lin Chuan said seriously. "This junior is really not interested in the story behind the magic cultivator. My sister said that at my innocent age, I should try to have as little contact with the dangers in the world." Simple. The corner of Zhu Zhengji's mouth twitched, calling you cunning and cunning as a compliment. From Lin Chuan, he could not see any simplicity that was not experienced in the world. Even though Lin Chuan is young, he is experienced and calm in his work, which is not what a young man should do at all. "Okay, let's go." Zhu Zhengji waved his hand. He asked Lin Chuan to do this task just to verify Lin Chuan's ability to do things. The world of spiritual practice is chaotic and complicated. Just having talent is not enough. Being a person and doing things are all a kind of spiritual practice. It can be seen from this incident that Lin Chuan will really join the world and practice in the future. He is the only one who deceives others. This kid has a very dark heart. Thank you, sir, I will take my leave. Lin Chuan handed over his hands and turned to leave. When he reached the door, he turned back and said, by the way, company, please pay more attention to the things that this junior wants. Go, 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 you fool. The company manager laughed angrily. If you don't leave, I won't be able to help but beat you. Thank you again, company. Lin Chuan bowed again and left. Back home, Lin Chuan first asked the cook to make dozens of simple dishes, and had a hearty meal with his maid Lu Ya. After washing up, he came to the bedroom. Not yet feeling sleepy, he lay on the bed and began to think. The concept of demonic cultivation has always existed, whether in the small world of dream reincarnation or the nine-phase realm in the real world. The difference is that in the reincarnation of Buddha's purity, the sins committed by demons are equal to the merits practiced by monks of the three religions. This is not the case in other worlds. In the nine-phase realm, one can still reach the top with the devil's appearance. Heaven will never punish demon cultivators for this. At most, some righteous monks care about the common people and take it as their duty to kill demons. The opposition between the two has absolutely nothing to do with the way of heaven. Buddha's sun purifies the world in the cycle of reincarnation. Monks of the three religions all rely on merit practice, especially Buddhism. Outside the Tianshui dynasty protected by the lotus of purity, demons are rampant. This pattern further confirms the particularity of the reincarnation world of Buddha's pure world. With many thoughts in mind, Lin Chuan fell into sleep and once again came to the dream reincarnation of Buddha's purification of the world. Holding a Zen staff and wearing a cassock, you cross the national boundary of the Tianshui dynasty in one step and step into the world of demons and troubles. Your target is the purifying lotus in the world on the other side of the western region. There are still many humans living outside the Tianshui dynasty, but without the protection of the purifying lotus, they can easily become the demon clan's rations. Not long after you were on your way, you encountered a black bear demon. The target of the black bear demon is the relic transformed by your master, Monk Fadian. After you noticed it, you punched the black bear demon to death and physically saved it on the spot. 3 days later, you met another monkey demon. It said that the mountain was too boring and wanted to go to the other side of the western region with you. You said, "Monkey, aren't you afraid that the poor monk will save you on the road?" The monkey demon said, "I have heard your story. You are not an ordinary monk. You will not kill the demon." You asked, "Where did you hear about this?" The monkey demon said, "From the two snake spirits." You thought to yourself that this monkey is quite innocent, so you agreed to his request to join the team, just in time to let him carry the burden for you. After collecting the monkeys, your journey to the west will be much more lively. The monkeys are chattering around you. It turns out that all the monsters nearby know what you did in the Tianshui dynasty. On the next journey, there will be monsters who want to join your team from time to time, but you reject them all. There are also ignorant monsters who will come to trouble you. When you are in a good mood, you will tell them about the Mahayana Buddhism that you have realized. When you are in a bad mood, you also know a little bit about fists and kicks, and you can physically save these monsters on the spot. After the story spread, the monsters gave you a name called Master Fa. Dharma represents your superb Dharma, and Yi represents status, because monsters always like to call themselves Grandpa to show their status. The name Master represents your status in the nearby monster world. The Master's reputation will reduce the number of monsters that harass you. But as you get farther and farther away from the Tianshui dynasty and the monsters become stronger and stronger, you still encounter many obstacles. In this area, you can hardly feel the breath of the purifying lotus. Not far ahead, a big river blocks your way. The river is boundless, the water is fast, the river is filled with mist, and the evil spirit on the other side of the river is far better than the one you are on. The monkey said, "Master, beyond that is the road of 10,000 demons. This road stretches for thousands of miles, and the monsters on the road are more powerful than the others. Please take it easy and don't be so crazy. You put your hands together and said, okay. After saying that, you flew above the river. Monster, I have seen you hiding among them. Want to ambush the poor monk. The poor monk can only send you to see the Buddha first. Mighty Tianlong, in the monkey's shocked eyes, you beat the demon king in the river to death. Monkey, follow me, you reminded the shivering monkey. The monkey mourned in silence to the killed river demon king. You said you can't offend anyone, so why do you dare to offend master? As the saying goes, once the master is saved, there will be no way to the past or the next life. You and the monkey came to the other side of the river. Continuing to walk forward, when passing a village, you picked up an injured magpie and healed it. The magpie is also a demon, but its behavior is weak and it cannot transform into a human being. The monkey said, Master, you have killed so many monsters, why are you so nice to a magpie? You said, didn't the poor monk also kill you, this rogue monkey? The monkey immediately closed his mouth. Not long after, you met another monster blocking the road. This monster was very powerful, and you fought hard with it. In the end, the other party escaped. After this incident, you decided to teach the monkey some magical powers. The monkey can also help you at critical moments. Unexpectedly, the monkey is very perceptive and has learned several powerful magical powers, including the 72 transformations. One day, you were explaining Buddhism and magical powers to the monkeys again, and a clear and childish girl's voice rang in your ears. Master Fa, Master Fa. You turn around and see that the magpie has transformed into a young girl of 15 or 16 years old. Looking at the way the magpie transformed, you were stunned for a moment, feeling that it seemed familiar. Also surprised was Lin Chuan's subconscious. The magpie girl looks exactly like her maid Lu Ya. The Eye of Reincarnation shows that Lu Ya's first 99 lives were all her maids. Could this be considered one of them? Thank you, Master, for teaching me the practice and allowing me to transform into another form. The magpie dances happily. You said, since you have transformed and have enough intelligence and self-preservation ability, please leave and don't follow me anymore. The magpie is unwilling to leave. You can't be ungrateful as a demon. Master, if you teach me how to practice, I will follow him and serve him. You said, follow me and you will die. The girl puffed up her chest proudly, I'm not afraid. You smiled and said no more. The girl added, by the way, Master, my name is Lu Ya. You asked casually, who named you? Lu Ya said, my master a long time ago was a scholar, and he looks a lot like you. You ask, then why did you leave your master? Lu Ya said, he is immortal and has died a long time ago. I accompanied him from the time he was born until he closed his eyes and entered the coffin. Unfortunately, I couldn't speak at that time and was just an ordinary magpie. The monkey laughed and said, Magpie demon, you are talking nonsense. How can you remember things before your spiritual wisdom was developed? Lu Ya pouted, maybe it happened in the past life. Anyway, I remember, doesn't Buddhism often say that there is reincarnation in the world? Monkey retorted, it's even more impossible to remember things before reincarnation. Remember, remember, just remember. Lu Ya put his hands on his hips and said angrily, I still remember what the master said when he named it. He said that when magpies stand on the branches, green buds see new life. Lu Ya glared at the monkey. Maybe Master Fa and I met hundreds of years ago, but Master Fa forgot. The monkey curled his lips and said, Master Fa has great supernatural powers. In his previous life, he was a true immortal with immeasurable merit and virtue. How can he be immortal? Lu Ya hummed, you don't want to believe it because you're afraid that the master will really meet me first and I will take away your position. Faced with the endless argument between the two little demons, you just find it funny. Before leaving the Tianshui dynasty, you never thought that you would take in these two little demons. It seems that your fate is not determined. There is another little demon, and the next road is much more lively. Monkeys and magpies often argue about who is your most loyal follower. Whenever the magpie cannot compete, she will come up with the theory that she served you in her previous life. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, 3 years later, you took the monkeys and magpies and walked on the westbound road for 3 years. After studying with you for 3 years, Monkey's strength has grown rapidly, and he has become a great demon king who can stand alone. In comparison, Magpie is very clumsy. He has been stumbling around for half his life. He has to be enlightened by you before he can transform into another form. He has no talent in the magical way. The magpie's only talent is to seek good fortune and avoid misfortune. However, in the face of your powerful causal induction ability, this talent is just a dispensable thing. But the magpie's mouth is very hard. Even when faced with a monkey that has grown into a great demon king, she can still chatter at length and fight with the monkey until her face turns red. The monkey kills the monsters that block the road without mercy, but when it comes to the magpie, it always talks but does not use its hands. In such fights day after day, you have arrived at a country with only women. Its name is the Daughter's Country. The Kingdom of Women is a special and magical country on the road of 10,000 demons. Women in the Daughter Kingdom can give birth naturally without having to marry a man. The one who is born can only be a female. At first, the people of the Daughter Kingdom regarded it as a curse, but over time, they became accustomed to it. The Master is here. The Master is here. In the distance, you can hear the cries of warblers and swallows on the city wall, excitement and anticipation. Master Fa's reputation has long been resounding throughout the 10,000 Demons Road, and the Daughter Kingdom is no exception. You have been solemnly invited by the King of the Daughter Country. The Queen asks you to stay in the country for a longer time, and she will treat you well. You are a little curious. On the road of countless monsters, why is there such a special place as the Daughter Country? The Daughter Country does not even have a single practitioner, but it has never been invaded by monsters. Is it possible that there is also a pure lotus protecting the world here? It has been recorded in ancient books that only one lotus can exist at a time. Only after the old lotus withers, the new lotus will bloom. You deduce that the one who protects the Daughter Kingdom is not a divine object like the purifying lotus, but a certain extremely powerful demon king. Fortunately, the Queen has no ill intentions towards you, and you are too lazy to go into details. Stayed in the Daughter Country for 3 days. The Queen comes to you every night, trying every possible way to spend the night with you, but you are not a womanizer at all, so you reject her. When setting off, the Queen said, "Master, when you come back after picking the lotus of purification, will you take me with you?" You didn't answer, and there was no reason to take her away. After leaving, the more you think about it, the more you feel that the Daughter Kingdom is weird and unreasonable. I am puzzled. You are too lazy to analyze. Passing through the Daughter Country station means that you are very close to the world on the other side of the western region. You can reach the other side in at most 1 year's journey. Now your strength has reached a whole new level. You have confidence that no demon on the road of demons is your opponent, including those famous demon kings. But soon, your self-confidence suffered a blow. You met a monster, and he was covered in magic weapons. He beat you miserable. In the end, the monkey blood returned to his ancestors and exploded with powerful force. You worked together to repel him. You asked, "What are the legs of that demon?" The monkey shook his head. Among the demon kings recorded on the demon road, there has never been such a powerful demon. Every once in a while, Dongtu will send people to the world on the other side of the western region to pick the lotus of the world. They have walked this road too many times and recorded all the monsters in the book. The cultivation of monsters is different from that of humans. There is no reason why such a powerful monster should appear all of a sudden and not even you can deal with it. You realize that something is unusual. Not long after, the monster found you again. The monkey was injured. If you are no longer able to defeat him, you will be doomed today. In desperation, you took out the relic that Master gave you. Originally, you didn't want to use the power of the relic. The only person you are close to in this world is your master. Using relics is like pushing the master away with your own hands, which will make him farther and farther away from you. Relic, give it to me. Seeing the relic, the invading demon king seemed crazy, his eyes were red, and he transformed into his true form, a jade-shined lion. Do you have a life to take? You activate the power of the relics, and behind you, a huge Dharma image appears, with thousands of hands and thousands of faces. This is the last move your master taught you, the 1,000-armed pagoda. The 1,000-hand pagoda is used in your hands, and it is more powerful than what your master used back then. Countless pairs of big hands are used to suppress the demon king in an instant. The magic weapons on his body were all beaten to a dull luster and fell off one by one. In the end, when only one life was left to be taken, he actually wanted to return to heaven and escape. In this world, you have heard about cultivating Taoism and becoming immortals, and transforming into Buddhas, but you have never seen that demons can also ascend. At this moment, the power of ascension fell on the demon soul. No matter how you try to stop it, you can only watch the demon soul fly into the sky, and the lost magic weapons disappear without a trace. At this moment you realize that maybe this world is a huge cage. To the spectators outside the cage, the fight inside the cage, no matter how exciting it is just a good show. In fact, you have already realized it. It's only at this moment, when the facts are before your eyes, that you believe it. You think there should be many practitioners who are aware of it, but they choose to obey, such as many eminent monks in the Tianshui dynasty. And you don't know how to break the cage. So what if you realize it? If you cannot break the cage, you can only live under the rules of the cage like the creatures who are unaware of all this. This just explains the reason why the daughter kingdom can exist on the road of 10,000 demons. As long as the creator of the rules wants them to exist, they will always exist and play their due role. Fate seems to be determined. You have no choice, you can only continue to move forward, go to the other side of the world, and find a new lotus of purification. The rest of the journey will be smooth. 1 year later, you came to the world on the other side of the western region. The world on the other side is just a name, not a real world. It got this name because it is covered with flowers on the other side and is so beautiful that it is incompatible with this world. Beyond the demonic Tianshui Chao, it really seems like another world. In the endless sea of flowers on the other side, the lotus of the pure world grows there. It's not that easy to walk through the sea of flowers on the other side. It tests one's spiritual willpower. Those who are not determined enough will be lost in the sea of flowers on the other side. Finally turned into a skeleton soldier guarding the flowers. Master, do you really want to go in? The magpie stood by the sea of flowers, sensing a strong danger. She could see that under the sea of flowers on the other side, there were endless dead bones. Master, why don't we go back? Those people from the Tianshui dynasty don't treat you well. You don't care what they do with their life or death. The monkey held back all the way and finally expressed his inner thoughts. Yes, we can still live well without the purifying lotus. What do we need the purifying lotus for? The magpie nodded repeatedly. For the first time in so long, she and the monkey reached an agreement. You shook your head and said with a smile, not for the world, but for myself and my master. Do you want to see if you were really a heinous devil in your previous life? Why did Master pass away so quickly after rescuing you? How much sin do you carry on your body? You too, let's go, don't wait for me any longer. You wave your hand to let the monkeys and magpies go away. After saying that, he stepped into the sea of flowers on the other side. Stepping into the sea of flowers on the other side, you will soon be submerged in it. Your eyes gradually become trance-like. Your life is like a revolving lantern, constantly going backwards, and scenes from the past are reflected in your mind. Step into the sea of flowers, glimpse into the cage, daughter king, invincible all the way, magpie transformed, revered as a Dharma master, met a monkey, the border between heaven and water, the master passed away. Your memory rewinds rapidly. The last moment is when you were born. At this moment, the whole world collapsed. With you as the center, the world is rapidly changing and reorganizing. Brand new memories are pushed into your head. Boom. The world exploded. In consciousness, your hands and feet are all tied up. When you open your eyes, there are 18 golden Buddhas looking at you in front of you. Everyone in the world says that the golden Buddha is a majestic treasure, but it seems so strange to you now. The golden Buddhas seem to be using some kind of secret method to refine you. Black energy is constantly coming out of your body, falling on them, and turning into golden merit. They don't seem to notice that you have woken up, they just keep greedily absorbing the sins from you and turn them into merits. As for why you are burdened with endless sins, there is an answer at this moment. Because you killed almost an entire world of people. In another memory of yours, after you were born by your parents, you were dumped in a cave like garbage. All around you are babies like you. The mysterious man in black raises you babies like livestock in an extremely simple and crude way. Until you begin to gain wisdom. From then on, no one will feed you anymore. You and those children are food for each other. In this bleak world, there is nothing but blood and massacre. I don't know how long those days passed, until you were the only one left in the dark world. The man in black appears again, and he brings you to a bigger world. What awaits you here is still endless killing. Until you kill all the people here, no one will appear again to take you to a wider place. The people you meet are getting more and more powerful. They are just like you, they are all people who have come out of endless cold-blooded killings. There is no emotion in your world, only survival. This is already an instinct, and you will not trust anyone. In a world like this, you kill all the way up. You don't know how many people you have killed, not just people, as long as a living being appears in your sight, he will die. Your strength has also reached an incredible level. Finally, you meet a group of people you have never seen before. They are brightly dressed and incompatible with the dark world. They call themselves GU breeders. And you are just a captive GU insect. They said, now you are qualified to come to the new world and choose to serve one of us. You chose one of them. Then you kill the person you choose, and everyone you see. No matter how bright the world is, it cannot illuminate your heart that has long been covered by blood scabs. Endless killing, if it continues, you will never see any living beings again. You lie in the darkness and end yourself in the darkness. The memory rotates again. You were born in the Tianshui dynasty, your parents were killed, you went down the mountain to take revenge, your master passed away, you were at the border of Tianshui, you met a monkey. Until I come to the other side of the world and walk into the sea of flowers. The image that never disappears from my mind is that of the 18 golden Buddhas that are constantly absorbing the power of sin from you and then converting it into merit. So that's it. So this is me. At this moment, how can you still not understand? From the beginning to the end, you are a tool to be used. The golden Buddhas let sins gather on you, and then let you reincarnate and purify, turning them into merits and attributes to them. Even the existence of this world is just to turn you into merit. In other words, it is to turn people like you into merit. After you leave, new creatures will come here carrying their sins and become a tool for the golden Buddhas to obtain merit. It's just that the golden Buddhas didn't expect that you would wake up and sense what they did. When you open your eyes again, you already have two pictures in your mind. The first picture is in the middle of the sea of flowers on the other side, where a white lotus blooms, releasing the power that makes Zhu Xie retreat. The second picture shows the 18 golden Buddhas constantly absorbing the karma and merit from you. The former is in front of your eyes, the latter is in your heart. You think that since your heart and eyes can see this, you can decipher it. In this world where the golden Buddha covers the sky with one hand, everything that any living being does seems to be a tool for them to gain the power of merit. But you know, they don't completely control the world. Otherwise there will be no awakening of your memory. Following the trajectory set by the golden Buddha, you will get the purifying lotus and return to the eastern land, allowing the people of the Tianshui dynasty to be protected again. In this way, the sins on your body will be transformed into a large amount of merit, which will be absorbed by the golden Buddhas. They raised the GU first, then killed the GU. Throughout the whole process, they acted as saviors and enjoyed the respect and worship of the world. But this time, you want Buddha to fall off the altar. You stand in the sea of flowers on the other side and don't go forward anymore. You want the pure white lotus to wither and plunge the Tianshui dynasty into chaos. You introduced the monkey who was still waiting outside the sea of flowers into the sea of flowers. You told the monkey the conspiracy of this world through your spiritual consciousness, and asked him not to show any abnormality. The monkey chose to believe you. Monkey said, "Monkey, you are my most respected master and my master. I am willing to dedicate everything to master's plan. You can only trust the monkey, you alone cannot break the world's cage." Sure enough, after you lost control, a Buddhist powerful soul wandered here, begging the monkey to take away the lotus of purification and send it back to the Tianshui dynasty. If this plan succeeds, you will take the greatest credit, and the sins on your body will still be purified. To crack this point, it all depends on the monkey's courage. The simplest way is to let the monkey completely destroy the lotus of purifying world. You can't tell whether the monkey will listen to you. If he betrays you, your plan will be ruined. The monkey holds the lotus of purification and leaves. It's been 3 years since I left. You waited silently in the sea of flowers for 3 years, until one day, you felt the changes in the world, and the rules of heaven and earth became more balanced at a certain moment. You know it was the monkey that destroyed the purifying lotus. What will be the result of waiting for the monkey? The magpie told you. She said, the monkey was suppressed under a Buddhist mountain and will be suppressed for 5,000 years. This is the price the monkey pays. This is also the beginning of true purification. Without the protection of the purifying lotus, the Tianshui dynasty fell into complete chaos. For the monsters, the mortals of the Tianshui dynasty are the most wonderful food, and countless big monsters have poured into that land. Monks from the 3 religions, led by Buddhism, came out one after another to slay demons. You are still lurking in the sea of flowers on the other side. Until the evil demon's troubles become more and more serious, you are sure that the golden Buddha in the sky cannot fully control the affairs of the world. This world has its own rules. So you walked out of the sea of flowers on the other side. On the first day you walked out, a Buddhist monk found you and asked you to come back to Jingshui Temple to be the host and slay demons. The previous abbot, your ancestor, Monk Yuanai, has died in the demon disaster. The monks of the Tianshui dynasty are generally not very strong. They rely on the power given by the true Buddha to be able to balance with many demon kings. You are different. Your strength was gained with each punch on the way of 10,000 demons. As long as you climb up and shout, you can order the monks all over the world to put down this monster chaos. But you refused the monk's request and beat him to death on the spot. The news about you walking out of the sea of flowers on the other side soon spread throughout the world. The magpie girl Luya is still following you. She said, Master, with your current reputation, no matter whether they are humans or monsters, they have to be wary and take a detour when they see you. You glance at Magpie. After many years, her cultivation has not improved at all. It's really not material for cultivation. The magpie can change its shape. It is probably because it mistakenly ate some heavenly material and earthly treasure, and got your enlightenment. It is quite lucky. Let's go see the monkeys. You took the magpie and left the world on the other side of the western region. In the dark, you feel the prying eyes from the golden Buddhas. You have changed from a disciple of the Buddha to a demon monk, and you have caused many murders. The sins on your body have deepened again, and the golden Buddhas in the sky can no longer draw merit from you. You can finally be sure that the golden Buddha in the sky cannot directly intervene in worldly affairs. This is excellent news for you. This reminded Lin Chuan of another dream cycle, Prince Zhonghu. The 2 worlds were quite similar. Shizi Zhonghu reincarnation focuses on luck, Buddha purifies the world reincarnation focuses on merit. Faintly, Lin Chuan guessed something. Having penetrated the path of all demons with a pair of fists, you are confident that you are invincible, as long as the enemy does not come from the sky. You start walking back from the end of 10,000 Demons Road. Compared to when you came here, the way back is smoother. No monster dares to stop you, and the same is true for people. Your position is ambiguous. Both the human race and the demon race want you to join their camp. You are born into the human race, but the creatures closest to you in the world are 2 demons, a monkey demon and a magpie. No living being can guess your thoughts. Actually, what you have to do is very simple. You want to restore the integrity of the rules of heaven and earth and get out of this prison. To achieve this, the first step is to suppress Buddhism. When people in the world no longer believe in Buddhism, and there are no incense offerings, Buddhism's influence on the world will become smaller and smaller. Endless demonic chaos will eventually create this situation. After a long journey, you returned to the Tianshui dynasty and came to the place where the monkeys were suppressed. Master, you are finally back. The monkey was pressed under a huge Buddha mountain, with only one head sticking out. His hair was messy, and a blade of grass could crush him. He no longer has the demeanor of the great demon king in the past, and has lost the glory of the demon monkey in the past. But you didn't see a trace of regret on his face. When he saw you, the monkey's eyes were still bright, and he said, Master, our era has come, go to hell with the purifying lotus. Monkey has advised you many times to give up the purifying lotus and become a happy person. So when you told the monkey that you wanted to destroy the lotus of purification, he was more excited than you and resolutely carried out your plan. Master, please get me out quickly. If monkeys were really suppressed under the mountains for 5,000 years, they would probably go crazy. You reach out and touch the mountain. In an instant, densely packed spells appear and bounce your hand away. You can't help but frown. Monkey, I'm afraid I won't be able to save you for a while. Foshan carries the power of Buddhism's endless merits, which cannot be unlocked by your own efforts. You also feel that there is a very special formation under Foshan. After your deduction, you discovered the secret of the formation, and there was actually a broken pure world lotus hidden inside. Buddhist people want to use the formation to merge the monkey and the broken lotus of the world into one body, so as to achieve the effect of protecting the Eastern land again. This can explain why Buddhism spends a lot of effort to create this Buddha mountain. If the Buddhist goal is achieved, all the efforts of you and the monkey will be in vain. You told the truth to the monkey. After a brief silence, the monkey looked at you, with a different kind of wisdom in his eyes. Master, I have a way to solve it. You were stunned. What can I do? Beat me to death. The monkey's method is simple and unpretentious. As long as the master kills me, the purifying lotus will not be able to absorb nutrients, and the Buddhist plan will be useless. You shake your head and smile. Not that much. There is another way to crack it. The power of sin can transform merit, and it can also destroy merit. You come to the top of Foshan Mountain, take out the relics transformed by your master, Monk Fadian, and let the magpies make the news known to the world. Those who go to the top of Foshan Mountain can obtain the relics and the supreme miraculous teachings taught by me personally. As soon as this news came out, it caused an uproar in the spiritual world. Neither the human monks nor the monsters could bear such temptation, and a bloody battle began. Blood dyed Foshan red. Your purpose is obvious, but people die for wealth and birds die for food. No one cares what your plan is and what impact it will have on Buddhism. They just want to get what belongs to them. Your plan does not target any living beings in this world, you just want to make this world chaotic. Let the rules be chaotic. Let the order be reorganized. The blood polluted the purifying lotus, and also allowed the monkey, the devil incarnation, to absorb the endless killing energy. Everything is developing as you expected. What you didn't expect is that the broken lotus of pure world grew and evolved again and turned into a blood lotus. You call it the purifying blood lotus. The effect of the purifying blood lotus is that when you sacrifice blood to it, it will give you strength. This is completely opposite to the original Jingxi white lotus. The emergence of the purifying blood lotus has also made the world become more and more crazy, and countless creatures are like crazy demons. Under the sacrifice of the blood of the world, the purifying blood lotus grows bigger and bigger, and the range of the power of the blood lotus is also wider and wider. Whether it is the Eastern land, the road of 10,000 demons, or the other side of the Western region, they are all enveloped by the power of the blood lotus. In this crazy world, it is difficult for normal creatures to exist. Because all normal creatures are dead. Even mortals began to kill each other and offer sacrifices to the blood lotus to gain strength. Their obsession with power was even greater than that of the monks who had already embarked on the path of spiritual practice. There is no longer any living being in this world who believes in Buddhism. The only thing that living beings believe in is the pure blood lotus that gives them power. In this crazy world, you still stand at the top of all living things, sitting and watching the clouds roll and relax. Occasionally, a blind monk will challenge you, and you will make a slight move to remind him of the time when he was dominated by the master. The killing days lasted for many years. There are fewer and fewer creatures in the world, and the surviving creatures have turned into bloodthirsty and crazy monsters. Until one day, the monkey also went crazy, left you, and joined in the killing. Apart from you, the only person who remains awake in the world is the magpie girl Luya. She has always been by your side, and she can only escape disaster by being protected by you. You ask Luya, don't you want to become stronger? Aren't you afraid of the madness of this world when you are weak? I'm not afraid, Luya said. Rather than becoming stronger, I prefer to be a happy little magpie beside Master. You are thoughtful, remembering the last master Luya mentioned, the mortal scholar. Perhaps that scholar is really your past life. You firmly believe that this cage-like world will be affected by forces outside the cage. The encounter between Luya and you was interference from outside the cage, otherwise she would have no reason not to be affected by the pure world blood lotus. And your master, Monk Fadian. It was Fatn who guided you to the world on the other side of the western region and told you about the memories of your previous life. When you recall the past, you find that he is incompatible with the Buddhist monks in this world. The influence from outside the caged world is the key to getting out of the cage. A new question appears in front of you. If the killing in this world continues, the final winner will bear endless sins, and then he will become you in the previous life and become a tool for Buddhism to absorb merit. Thousands of times, the ending seems to be the same. You just realized that you thought too simply before, and this seems to be an unsolvable situation. After a long period of thinking, you decided to enter the game with your own body again. With the changes in the rules of the world, Luya, a magpie girl who knew nothing about spiritual practice, has reached the end of her life. Look at her turned into bones, bury her with your own hands. Then, you enter the world again. You started endless killings. Whether they are humans, demons, or other creatures, all creatures affected by the purifying lotus will be slaughtered by you. You have become what you were in your last life again. But in this life, in the midst of killing, your heart is still as clear as a mirror, and you know exactly what you are doing. You are seeking liberation and purifying the world. At the end of the killing, only you and the monkey who has turned into a demon ape are left. The monkey no longer remembers you. You spent your whole life trying to assimilate yourself with the blood lotus, and suppress the monkeys for 5,000 years. Monkey, I will seal this world and give you a fortune. Remember to stick to your heart and see you again in 5,000 years. After leaving the last words to the monkey, the power of your soul burned and suddenly surged into the sky. Master, Master, Monkey, I am willing to wait for you for 5,000 years. I will definitely see you again. Somewhere, you heard the monkey's cry. The time limit of 5,000 years is just a hope you gave him. If the monkey confused with the pure world blood lotus, there may be hope to completely break the shackles of the world. As for whether we can see each other again, who knows? Your soul came to the sky and entered your other body, the body in your previous life that was burdened with endless sins and imprisoned by the Golden Buddha. How did you awaken your soul in this world? Who are you? The Golden Buddhas showed incredulous eyes. You said, like you, I am also looking for the real me. After a brief surprise, the faces of the Golden Buddhas were distorted and looked like evil ghosts. Everyone, take action to suppress the sinner, and never let his soul leave the Buddha's kingdom. The Golden Buddhas all take action to suppress you. How can their false merits suppress you who has committed endless sins in 2 lives? Outside this cage, you can feel that your soul is unrestrained, and the strength you exert is far better than in the cage world. You killed a Golden Buddha with a powerful gesture. The other Golden Buddhas were completely panicked. A Golden Buddha shouted, "Hurry! Go to Jinlingzhu Mountain to invite the Great Sun Buddha." You don't know who the so-called Great Sun Buddha is, and you also know that today is a certain death situation, but you don't care. You just want to turn this place upside down. Invincible, you have killed one Golden Buddha after another. Your soul is sublimating and you are walking outside the Buddha hall. Not far away, an arhat stumbled back. It's bad. Ancestor Yang from the Zhui Star territory has entered Jinling Mountain. The Great Sun Buddha has been suppressed and cannot come to help. Arhat's voice stopped suddenly, and what caught his eyes were the corpses of Golden Buddhas all over the ground, and you, covered with black energy all over your body. You killed Arhat with one punch and walked out calmly. The golden light outside the palace is dazzling, but just approaching the palace door, you feel that your soul is being burned, turning you into nothingness. But you did not hesitate and continued to move forward, just wanting to take a look at the world outside the cage. When you come outside the temple, you see the real world and feel the complete rules of heaven and earth. It's so beautiful. You stretched, your body gradually weakened. The last gaze fell into the distance, where a towering mountain with no boundaries stood. On the top of the mountain, 2 supreme powers were dueling. The Arhat you killed said their names, one was called the Great Sun Buddha, and the other was the ancestor of the Zhui Star territory. Their power is far greater than yours. As you admire this unprecedented battle, your vision becomes increasingly blurry. At the last moment of his life, the ancestor Yang's eyes seemed to be looking at you, and you didn't know if it was your imagination. This dream cycle is over and you wake up. On the big bed, Lin Chuan opened his eyes suddenly, sat up suddenly, and murmured the name, Yangzhu. This dream reincarnation of Buddha's son purifies the world revealed more information than the previous 3 dream reincarnations. At the end of the dream reincarnation, the shackles of the small world were broken, and many external forces intervened, making this dream reincarnation completely different. There are 3 points that concern Lin Chuan the most. The first point is naturally the Yangzhu, seen at the end of the dream. In the dream memory, there is no specific appearance of Yangzhu, only a distant glimpse and an irreplaceable sense of familiarity. The word, Yang, reminds Lin Chuan too much. The first thing that comes to mind is naturally my sister Lin Yangyang. The information displayed by the Eye of Samsara was still fresh in his memory. Lin Yangyang, number of reincarnations, 2. This is Lin Yangyang's 3rd life. She interacted with you in the first 2 reincarnations. It is worth mentioning that her 2nd life is also your sister in a certain reincarnation. Coupled with his sister's talent, Lin Chuan had no reason not to suspect that his sister was the reincarnation of a powerful person. There is no need to turn on the dream reincarnation online mode. You can still meet people around you in the real world in the dream reincarnation. This has been verified by Lu Ya. This is also the 2nd point that Lin Chuan cares about. Buddha's son purifies the world. Lu Ya in reincarnation and the maid Lu Ya in the real world are definitely related to each other in the past and present lives. The magpie girl in the dream reincarnation is dull, pitifully stupid, has no ideals, no desires, and just wants to be a mascot. In reality, Lu Ya was no less generous. Among the many maids in the Lin mansion, they were all stupid, careless, and a dull girl. As for the 3rd point, it is the Buddha kingdom, mentioned by the golden Buddhas in the dream. Lin Chuan has heard some legends that Taoism has 36 caves, 72 blessed lands and many other small worlds. Buddhism has 3,000 Buddhist kingdoms, which are also small worlds. Combined with what happened in the 2 dream reincarnations of Shizi Zhonghu and Fozi Jingxi, you can guess the clues. The former is likely to belong to the Taoist cave heaven blessed land, while the latter belongs to the Buddhist kingdom of 3,000 Buddhas. With each dream reincarnation, Lin Chuan's understanding of the 9 phases realm continues to deepen, and the connection between dream reincarnation and reality also becomes closer and closer. Ding! The host has completed a complete dream reincarnation and gained 100,000 points this time. Since the intensity of this dream world reaches the standard, the host can receive an additional reward. Please choose 2 of the following rewards to receive them. Reward 1. Spiritual Root Pure World Red Lotus Seed. Reward 2. Spiritual Root Pure World White Lotus Seed. Reward 3. Buddhist Magical Power 1000 Hand Pagoda. The reward at the end of this reincarnation is also different from the previous 3 dream reincarnations. There is no reincarnation reflection card and 2 more spiritual objects. Looking back on the life of dream reincarnation, Jingchen was basically in an invincible state and had been defeated twice in his life. The first time was joint suppression from the older generation. The second time was the mysterious monster. Strictly speaking, the 2 failures were due to the power given by the golden Buddha in the sky to reduce his dimensionality. Such an invincible life without a highlight moment may be the fundamental reason why there is no reincarnation reflection card in this reward. After a brief thought, Lin Chuan chose rewards 1 and 2, directly giving up the Buddhist Magical Power 1000 Armed Pagoda. How powerful the 2 world purifying lotuses are has been confirmed in dreams. Lin Chuan stretched out his hands and held them empty, and 2 seeds solidified in his left and right hands, 1 white and 1 red. Buddha's son purifies the world in the cycle of reincarnation. The 2 kinds of lotus that purify the world can be said to be the foundation of the world. The former protects the world, and the latter destroys the world. Lin Chuan could not predict how powerful the purifying lotus would be after it was reflected in reality. Let's plant the white lotus in the house. It can protect my sister and that stupid maid Lu Ya. He didn't know what the principle behind the pure world white lotus was to protect the world. It was probably related to luck or something like that. Come outside. The maid Lu Ya ran over happily and transformed into a ruthless time machine. Master, you slept for a total of 33 days this time. Okay, got it. Lin Chuan nodded. Go to the kitchen and bring me a bucket of spiritual liquid. Okay, master. Lu Ya walked quickly towards the kitchen with small steps. Lin Chuan picked the best soil in the small courtyard, dug a hole, and buried the seeds of pure world white lotus in it. After a while, Luya came back with a small bucket of spiritual liquid. Lin Chuan took it and poured it into the ground without saying a word. Hey, master, what are you doing? Luya stamped her feet anxiously. This is spiritual liquid. 1 drop of spiritual liquid can buy 10 of me. Luya felt aggrieved. In her opinion, the things used by the monks were all extremely expensive. The young master actually poured all such precious things into the ground. Even if you plant a tree that can grow gold, you can't waste it like this. Lin Chuan smiled and said, I will leave it to you to water it from now on. You must pour a bucket of spiritual liquid into it every day. What is it? Luya asked. A white lotus. Lotus, aren't they meant to be planted in water? Fool. Lin Chuan hit Luya on the head and said, they are all spiritual creatures. Is it strange that they grow in the soil? It turns out it's a spiritual creature, so that makes sense. Luya suddenly realized, don't worry, young master, I will take good care of it. Luya was the most relaxed maid in the Lin mansion, more comfortable than the average young lady from a wealthy family, but she always felt uncomfortable unless she found something to do. I'm going out. Lin Chuan didn't talk to Luya anymore. He got up and walked outside the Lin mansion, heading straight to the headquarters of the Yandu Demon Slayer Division. Virtual space. Yun Ziyi looked at Lin mansion, slightly surprised. What kind of seed was planted by Aquan? It's so miraculous that it can automatically absorb the luck of heaven and earth and form a shelter. What Yun Ziyi cultivates is the path of good fortune and luck. She could clearly see that there was an additional layer of luck shield above the Lin mansion that ordinary monks could not detect. It seems that my husband's previous life was very unusual. Ever since the 9-tailed fox soul appeared, she realized that Aquan was not an ordinary reincarnated person, and that the memory of a certain life had long been awakened in his body. Perhaps it was precisely because the matter of reviving the remnant soul of the 9-tailed fox had formed an obsession in Aquan's heart that her husband could never think of her. Even that witch has gone into seclusion and is about to break through to the realm of legend, but I can only break through to the supreme level. Without the Yunchuan dynasty, where should my destiny go? Yun Ziyi was a little confused. Even though the supreme realm is already the absolute strongest on the continent, more and more things happen, making her realize that the supreme realm is not enough. You have to become stronger. The seed planted in Lin mansion may be able to help her. Yun Ziyi was moved. It just so happens that the Red Witch is not here, so I can take the opportunity to live in the Lin mansion. The witch also broke the rules last time, so you can't blame me. Yandu Demon Slayer Division. Company manager Zhu Zhengji was furious when he saw Lin Chuan, who had only come to report after a month and still looked lazy. You kid, 2 months is a day difference. If all demon slayers were like you, the order of the world would have been disrupted long ago. This is not a special situation for me. Lin Chuan smiled and said, special circumstances require special treatment. I believe our company will understand this, Junior. It doesn't matter if I don't understand you. After all, Emperor Yan understands you. Zhu Zhengji teased, all the things you want have been collected, and some of them were handed over to me by Emperor Yan himself. Lin Chuan smiled and held up his hands, thank you, sir. I have worked so hard for you. I will definitely practice hard to repay my kindness. Stop. Zhu Zhengji waved his hand, I don't want to hear your polite words. I just want to know one thing. What is your relationship with Emperor Yan? Well, Lin Chuan paused, this is a long story. Zhu Zhengji said, I know what kind of person Emperor Yan is. He has always been withdrawn. The stability of the Yan dynasty depends on Emperor Yan's strength, not his ability to govern the country. There are few things that can please Emperor Yan. A few days ago, Yawuji, the saint of the spirit tribe, entered the capital, but Emperor Yan didn't take any action. He is very concerned about you. If Emperor Yan didn't have a close relationship with this guy Lin Chuan, he wouldn't believe it even to death. Lin Chuan took a deep breath, if I have to say it, Emperor Yan's ancestors have some relationship with the younger generation. Strictly speaking, I am also considered the ancestor of Emperor Yan. Lin Chuan only dared to keep the last sentence in his heart. Zhu Zhengji frowned, do you have a relationship with Emperor Yan's ancestors? Is it possible that your ancestor had a deep friendship with his ancestor? It should be counted. Lin Chuan nodded and admitted. Forbidden love. In that reincarnation, Yan Baikong, the ancestor of Emperor Yan, tortured him all his life. How can it not be regarded as a kind of friendship? I see. Zhu Zhengji suddenly realized. It turns out that you are a blessing accumulated by our ancestors. Satisfied after getting the answer, Zhu Zhengji took out a space ring and handed it to Lin Chuan. Everything you want is here. This space ring also contains some cultivation resources prepared by Emperor Yan for you. Please accept them all. Junior thanks the company. Lin Chuan's face did not turn red when he claimed to be a junior in front of Zhu Zhengji, and his heart did not beat. Although there was a connection between dream reincarnation and reality, it could not affect his main consciousness in the real world. Let's talk about our own affairs and that's it. His spiritual sense penetrated the ring, and Lin Chuan was startled by this sight. In addition to the originally required materials, the ring also contains various treasures, elixirs, talismans, magic weapons, etc., too numerous to count. Lin Chuan even suspected that Emperor Yan moved all the treasury into the space ring. With Yan Baikong's stubborn temperament, it is not impossible for his descendant, Emperor Yan, to do this. Only he knew how deeply Yan Baikong was obsessed with defeating him. In this case, Lin Chuan accepted these resources. In return, when he catches up with Yan Baikong in the future, he will try not to torture the old boy too badly. You can't blame Lin Chuan for being too confident. He couldn't beat the opponent without cheating in his last life. Now that he's cheated so much in this life, how can Yan Baikong still play? There's one more thing I want to tell you. Zhu Zhengji spoke again. Do you still remember the demon cultivator who stole babies that you captured? Remember what happened? Lin Chuan nodded. Is there any big background behind that demon cultivator? Or is it involved in some major events? If it is a trivial matter, the company will definitely not mention it deliberately. Zhu Zhengji said. There must be some background, but it hasn't been found out yet. It seems that the demon cultivator captured the baby to sacrifice to some big demon. I've known it for a long time. Lin Chuan's heart did not fluctuate much. This was a common routine used by demonic monks, with layers of sacrifices and layers of harvest. The Demon Slayer division will naturally find out the devil behind it. I am telling you this because I want you to be careful. Zhu Zhengji said in a deep voice. More than a dozen demon slayers responsible for investigating the series of incidents involving demon cultivators have been killed. You must be careful. Thank you, company, for reminding me. Lin Chuan clasped his fists. It seems that the chaos this time is not small, and the demonic monks dare to hunt the demon slayer in turn. I hope that the other party will not find me uninterested. Otherwise, the Supreme Lady guarding in the dark will let these demon cultivators know what the power of love is. After taking the things and saying goodbye to the company, Lin Chuan went home satisfied. Before he reached the door of Lin Mansion, he saw a man dressed in green waiting in the distance. Why is my little childhood sweetheart here again? Don't you still want to torment me? Did the other fiercely criticizing the lady allow Xiao Qingmei to do this? Lin Chuan's heart was pounding, not knowing what exciting interaction he was about to receive. She wouldn't grab his hand and press it to his chest like Mo Sangyu did, and ask, "Do you feel my heart? Your heart is so big, how can you not feel it?" Lin Chuan walked home uneasily and a little expectantly. When he got close, he acted surprised. Hey, you. Daughter you Taoist priest Qingyu. Exactly. Yun Ziyi still has not revealed her true identity. Like Mo Sangyu, she does not want to get along with the strange Lin Chuan in her original identity. Naturally, Lin Chuan would not expose it and said smoothly. I haven't seen you Taoist master for a long time. That day you turned into a rainbow and left. But what happened? It's all trivial matters, Yun Ziyi smiled lightly. That's good. Family trivial matters are not just trivial matters. Lin Chuan agreed deeply. The Taoist priest is waiting in front of the house, but you have something to look for. Yun Ziyi nodded. I see that the Lin family has a lot of good fortune. It is blessed by the luck of heaven and earth, which is a good omen. I have a method that can make the Lin family more prosperous. Lin Chuan thought. Yes, isn't it true that what Yun Ziyi practices is the path of good fortune and luck? Perhaps only this little green plum lady can play the true role of the purifying white lotus. Lin Chuan was naturally happy to welcome his wife into the house. Even if they couldn't explore the mystery of the origin of life together, it would be very eye-catching to see more. The only thing that scares him is, where is the other lady, Mo Sengyu? Will there be another great war? Without waiting for Lin Chuan to think more, Yun Zi directly expressed his feelings. My method requires setting up a profound formation in the Lin Mansion. It may require living in the Lin Mansion for a period of time. Is it convenient? Convenient, so convenient. Lin Chuan subconsciously agreed. If another woman comes and have another fight, there is nothing she can do about it. It's a great success for the Lin Mansion to welcome Taoist priest to move in. Taoist master, please. Lin Chuan made an invite gesture, nervously brought Yun Zi into the house, and gave a brief introduction. Taoist priest, there are not many people in our Lin Mansion, and there are many private courtyards available. You can choose a separate courtyard to live in at will. How's it going there? Yun Zi stretched out her slender jade finger and pointed to a courtyard to the east. Lin Chuan, madam, don't do it, that's my bedroom. What do you want to do? Taoist priest, that is my permanent bedroom. If you like it, I can make it available for Taoist priest. Lin Chuan did not dare to live in the same room as Yun Zi. Firstly, I am afraid that I will not be able to control myself and my secret will be exposed inadvertently. Secondly, I'm afraid that the demon lord and his wife will find out and cause another quarrel. No need to move. Yun Zi did not give Lin Chuan a chance to refute. That small courtyard has the best feng shui and deep blessings. The yin and yang of you and me are in harmony, which will help increase our luck. Really, I don't practice much, so don't lie to me. Lin Chuan didn't understand the so-called way of luck at all, so he could only agree, it all depends on the Taoist priest's will. The two came to the small courtyard. Fortunately, there are still many empty rooms in the courtyard. Except for the room where the maid Lu Ya lives, the rest of the rooms are empty. Taoist priest, please choose a room so that I can let the maid arrange a bed for you. That's the one. Yun Zi chose the place next to Lin Chuan. After choosing a room, Lin Chuan asked Lu Ya to clean and tidy the room, then looked at the sky and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that Mo Sengyu has left temporarily. Otherwise, given the character of the demon lord lady, there is no reason not to cause a scene. After checking in, Yun Zi didn't mean to avoid it at all. He squatted in front of the seeds of the Pure World White Lotus and began to observe. In less than half a day, the Pure World White Lotus has sprouted green buds. Lin Chuan still had a seed of the purifying Red Lotus in his hand, but he didn't know how to use it. Buddha's sun purifies the world in the dream reincarnation. The purifying Red Lotus showed absolute world-destroying power, causing the whole world to fall into madness. Lin Chuan didn't dare to use it indiscriminately. With his current strength, it is difficult to suppress the blooming Jingxi Red Lotus. If Mo Zunyu, the demon lord's wife, was here, she would be quite suitable for this treasure. Lin Chuan, this white lotus is a rare thing. It brings the Lin family's already extraordinary luck to a new level. The gentle voice brought Lin Chuan's thoughts back to reality. Yun Zi said, if you don't mind, I can use Taoism to truly integrate Balian and Lin Mansion. At that time, the Lin Mansion will be able to gather the luck of heaven and earth at a faster speed, and the intensity of the spiritual energy will be greatly increased, and it will slowly transform into a holy place for cultivation. It all depends on the Taoist priest. Lin Chuan didn't refute a word. Can my wife still harm me? I even have to sigh with emotion. It's so nice to have a wife who takes care of the house. A good wife helps me achieve success today, and I will send a good wife to prove my longevity in the future. Yun Zi was also very happy inside. Even though Akwan no longer recognizes me, he still trusts me so much. That invisible sense of trust and subtle kindness made her very comfortable. At night, Yun Zi completed the arrangement of the formation. Lin Chuan could clearly feel that the intensity of spiritual energy in Lin Mansion was increasing rapidly, and he felt more wonderful when practicing than before. Maybe this is the so-called luck. Boom. Then Lin Chuan felt the roar coming from his body, and all the inspiration for practice accumulated in the reincarnation of Buddha's purity exploded at this moment. The internal organs, limbs, countless meridians, every drop of blood, and every bone in the body began an astonishing transformation. This is a baptism of rebirth. It means that Lin Chuan has skipped the 3 basic cultivation realms of nourishing qi, opening pulses and soaring into the sky, and entered the 4th realm of cultivation, the realm of rebirth. It's a step slower than my sister, who is most likely the reincarnation of a powerful person, but fortunately it's not much slower. Reborn, congratulations to you, Lin Chuan. Yun Ziyi smiled and said, I will give you another blessing. After saying this, she waved her jade hand, and more than 100 kinds of elixirs and herbs flew out, and were refined into a ball under the influence of spiritual energy. The next moment, Lin Chuan was in a wooden barrel shrouded in mist, with all his clothes missing. The drug soaks into the body. Lin Chuan only felt a soreness, and his whole body felt like it was being burned, a little painful but also a little comfortable. Hold on to. Yun Ziyi's gentle voice sounded outside the lingering clouds and mist. The realm of rebirth is one of the few opportunities given by the rules of heaven and earth to reincarnate oneself. If the foundation is laid firmly enough, one can hit a higher realm in the future. Monks like Mo Sengyu and Yun Ziyi, who have entered the 9-phase realm from the lower realm or small world, also have an opportunity to reborn when they readapt to the rules of heaven and earth. Time passes bit by bit. The night ends and the day dawns. Lin Chuan finally absorbed all the power of the medicine, completed his transformation, and officially entered the realm of rebirth. Yun Ziyi's eyes glowed slightly, staring at Lin Chuan closely. After the transformation, Lin Chuan lost a bit of the immatureness of a young man, his face became more resolute, and his temperament became much calmer. When you smile, you are still sunny and cheerful, exuding youthful vitality. This kind of Lin Chuan is more in line with Yun Ziyi's idea of a Chuan. Seeing the transformation of her sweetheart, she was moved by the scene, and she couldn't help but think of what happened in the Blue Jade Paradise. Chuan slowly grew from a carefree prince who wandered around the world to a mature and steady king of Zhenan who shouldered heavy responsibilities. Now, she has witnessed Aquan's growth in another identity and from another angle. Aquan, no matter how many times you come again, I will always be by your side. Yun Ziyi murmured softly. In a daze, Lin Chuan had already put on his clothes and came to Yun Ziyi's side again. Thank you so much, Master, for this breakthrough. Yun Ziyi waved his hand. To be honest, I have selfish motives for moving into the Lin mansion. From now on, there will be no need to say more words of thanks between you and me. Good. Lin Chuan didn't want to be so polite to his wife. Since the Taoist master has said so, I can be more casual in the Lin mansion from now on and treat this place as my own home. Home. Yun Ziyi felt a lump in his throat. He almost couldn't help but rush over and knock down his sweetheart. She still held back, only hoping that spending time together would help Chuan quickly recover the memory of that life in Qingyu Paradise. From then on, her wish was fulfilled. As monks, we are free in the world and there is no place where we are not at home. When Lin Chuan saw this, he didn't dare to continue to sensationalize the situation and made peace. Night comes. The two return to their respective bedrooms. In 2 rooms separated by only 1 wall, Lin Chuan and Yun Ziyi were tossing and turning on their respective beds, unable to calm down. If I had known that it would be such a thorn in the side of people's hearts, why would I not have known each other in the first place? Looking back on his life, Yun Ziyi found that all his struggles in this life were due to his relationship with Lin Chuan. The feeling of inseparability and reluctance was tossing in her heart, and every once in a while, there would be a wave that rushed into Lin Chuan's room. I want Chuan to touch his heart and see if he can feel that the 2 hearts are connected. A night of silence. When the sky was slightly bright, Lin Chuan got up, his spiritual sense penetrated the space ring, and counted the materials needed to revive Tushan's Jiao soul. He has already gathered all the basic materials. The remaining required materials are outside Qingyan Prefecture, so it is quite difficult to collect them. I guess it will take a large size. Lin Chuan currently has 2 large accounts that can be logged in, namely Perfect Female Demon Lord, the Reincarnated Sword God in White, and Forbidden Love, the Reincarnated Pure Love War God. Any reincarnation card that reflects reality can allow him to obtain the peak power of that reincarnation, and it also comes with all magical powers. No matter which reincarnation reflection card has power, it can at least reach the level of the 9-phase realm Supreme Realm. The Supreme Realm is enough to be respected in a continent. This is where Lin Chuan's confidence lie. Fellow Taoist Lin, where are you going? As soon as he left the room and hadn't walked a few steps, Yun Zi's voice came from behind. Lin Chuan paused. I actually forgot about this. Miss Qingmei has moved into the house and can now legitimately inquire about some of his private affairs. Lin Chuan could make a rough guess about Xiao Qingmei's fighting power. She was not killed on the spot by Mo Sangyu in the form of the Demon Lord, so she was at least a supreme. If I could bring Miss Qingmei with me, I might be able to save a trump card. But doing so made Lin Chuan feel like a scumbag. What's the point of taking one lady to save another lady? Lin Chuan wanted to refuse, but couldn't find a suitable reason, because even if he refused, Yun Zi would still follow him secretly. After all, in the eyes of the lady, he is just a rookie monk in the early stage of the rebirth realm, and he needs protection at all times. Go out and collect some materials. Lin Chuan told the truth. Yun Zi smiled and said, I have nothing to do these days, and I happen to want to go out for a walk. I wonder if it would be convenient for fellow Taoist Lin to go with me. This is not good. Lin Chuan declined. If it's inconvenient, forget it. I'm just bored alone in the yard and want to find someone to relieve my boredom. There was a hint of resentment in Yun Zi's tone. Lin Chuan, hey, find out our respective identities now. We have a serious relationship as fellow Taoists. Not a Taoist couple relationship. How could Taoist priest Qingyu, who was cold and cold yesterday, turn into a jealous little girlfriend when he wakes up? If Taoist master really wants to go, that's okay. Lin Chuan didn't mean what he meant and blurted out words that were against his will. I wanna go. Yun Zi's connection was almost seamless, and she was as happy as a little girl in love. Then let's go together. Lin Chuan reluctantly agreed, having a bad feeling in his heart. If this continues, sooner or later it will develop in an uncontrollable direction. If the fierce criticizing lady returns, it will be a Shira field again, or an enhanced version of the 18th level of Purgatory. But the arrow was on the string and had to be fired. Lin Chuan could not care so much. Where do you want to go, fellow Taoist Lin? Yun Zi would not give Lin Chuan a chance to regret. If the distance is long, I can fly with a sword and the speed will be much faster. The 13 prefectures of Qingzhou. According to Yan Baikeng's records in the third part of Yuling General Secret, the most important material needed to revive Tushan Zhaojiao's soul is in the 13 prefectures of Qingzhou. Its name is Minghan Jade. Are you going to the 13 prefectures of Qingzhou? Yun Zi was surprised. That's one of the home bases of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. After thinking about it carefully, she felt relieved again. Isn't that poor lady with only a remnant soul left in Aquan's body the Nine-Tailed Fox? I know. Lin Chuan's face turned serious. He has already looked up the information about the Qingzhou Nine-Tailed Fox clan. Qingzhou is considered a giant force in the entire Jushan realm, monopolizing the territory of 19 states, and Qingzhou is just one of the 13 states. Fellow Taoist Lin is very courageous. Yun Zi was a little displeased. In order to resurrect the remnant soul of the fox, Aquan was able to do this. This made her envious and worried her. But she had no reason to stop him. Just like in the life of Qingyu Blessed Land, Achuan spent all his life and left the world's fate in her hands. Since she has enjoyed Achuan's life-saving protection, she naturally has no right to dissuade him. All she can do is to accompany him. I'll lend you Taoist friend Lin's sword. Thinking of the Red Witch and Achuan flying with the sword that day, Yun Zi had long wanted to take revenge. Isn't it the sword from the previous life? Who doesn't have one yet? Buzz. The Yongsan Divine Sword was unsheathed and picked up the two of them. Riding the Yongsan Divine Sword with her sweetheart again made Yun Zi's somewhat depressed mood suddenly become much brighter again. Fellow Taoist Lin, your cultivation is still shallow. I'm afraid you won't be able to withstand the violent fluctuations of the flying sword flying through the space. It's best to support me. Ah, Lin Chuan was stunned. Help, where? Is there still such a thing as a flying sword traveling through space? I don't practice much, so don't lie to me. Lin Chuan seriously suspected that he had too close physical contact with Mo Sangyu that day, which made Mrs. Xiao Qingmei want to regain her position. Will the vinegar jar that has been fermented for so many days stop becoming sour once it is knocked over? Lin Chuan was still thinking when he stumbled suddenly, and the flying sword flew forward for a distance. He was caught off guard and could only pounce forward. His hands subconsciously hugged Xiao Qingmei's soft waist. Hug. Hold on tight, fellow Taoist, we are about to take off. Before he could say his sorry words, Yun Zi once again commanded the flying sword to fly out. Lin Chuan pressed his hands hard and hugged him tighter. Isn't this rhythm wrong? I flirted with countless girls in my dream, how come I got flirted with in reality? Or is this a method commonly used by will-o'-the-wisp boys to pick up girls? But having said that, this waist is indeed quite soft. It seems to be 100 times more comfortable to touch than in the dream. It is fragrant and soft, and the impact is extremely strong. Lin Chuan was enjoying it, and Yun Zi, who wielded the flying sword, was also deep in thought. Does this count as me meddling in other people's feelings? It probably doesn't count. After all, it was all the love affair of Akwon in his previous life. In this life, Akwon did not have a matchmaker to marry, so of course whoever gets it will get it. What's more, judging from Akwon's reaction, he should have a good impression of himself. Even if he has no memory, the feeling engraved in his soul will not be forgotten. Yun Zi quickly convinced herself and silently enjoyed her sweetheart's hug. The two of them were in such a tacit understanding. There is an extremely long distance between Qingyan Prefecture and the 13 prefectures of Qingzhou. Even if Yun Zi, who is at the supreme level, constantly travels through space with his sword, it will take several days to arrive. After hugging her for a long time, Yun Zi suddenly turned red. She felt Lin Chuan's continuously filling energy and blood behind her, and there was already a closeness from the soul. It was inevitable that a man and a woman had hugged each other for so long, and they couldn't control themselves. Yun Zi could understand, let alone the hot-blooded Ah Chuan, the love was so deep that even she almost turned into water. Memories are floating in your mind, your heart is pounding, can your body stop itching? Fortunately, both of them have their own bottom line that they must stick to. Lin Chuan's bottom line was there. If he couldn't hold it, Madam Demon Lord might be able to twist both of his heads off. The 7 painful and sweet days are finally over. Yun Zi's flying speed with the sword gradually slowed down, and after traveling through space again, he landed on a land with beautiful scenery. Fellow Taoist Lin, we are here. Okay. Lin Chuan quickly let go, and Yun Zi turned around. The veil he had been wearing had disappeared, and the two looked at each other. Yun Zi stared at Lin Chuan closely, as if he wanted to see the latter thoroughly. Lin Chuan's heart skipped a beat. Suffer. After all, he was still suspected. Chapter 71. Looking at this posture, Xiao Qingmei is about to torture herself. Lin Chuan took a deep breath, cupped his fists and said, I was in a hurry and lost my etiquette. Please forgive me, Taoist master. It doesn't matter, Yun Zi said seriously. Your cultivation is still shallow and you cannot resist the turbulent laws of space. It is reasonable to feel fear in your heart. Lin Chuan, this is probably a two-way street. You understand my evil intentions, and I understand your pretense of reserve. Fellow Taoist Lin, why are you staring at me? Yun Zi changed the subject. Does it mean that friend Taoist Lin thinks I look like an old friend? Question marks popped up on Lin Chuan's head. Why did you suddenly start hitting straight balls? Sure enough, as long as they are together, the situation will spiral out of control. If you keep going, sooner or later you will be unable to help but roll onto the same bed. Lin Chuan suppressed his turbulent thoughts and said with a smile, the Taoist priest's appearance is even better than that of a banished immortal. Among my old friends, there is no such good-looking person. A man's mouth. What a liar. Yun Zi was very confident in her appearance, but she knew that if she really wanted to compare, she couldn't compare to that fierce witch. The fierce demon girl is a bit fierce, but if you just look at her appearance, even she, a woman, has to be amazed by her. Of course, if you admit it, you must admit it. If Akwon dares to say that the fierce witch is more beautiful than him. It's not over. After staring at Lin Chuan's eyes for a long time, Yun Zi finally couldn't find a flaw and had no choice but to give up. Okay, let's not say those polite words between you and me. It's more important to find something. The 13 prefectures of Qingzhou are the territory of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan, and accidents may easily occur if they stay there for a long time. The land is endless as far as the eye can see, with green mountains and green waters. The scenery of Qingzhou is really beautiful, but Lin Chuan is worried. Where is the Minghen jade recorded in The General Secret of Yuling? According to Yan Baikung's description, this thing is a rare treasure that can only be found, otherwise Yan Baikung would have gotten it long ago. It was precisely because it could not be found and the birth conditions were too harsh that it could only be recorded in books and left to Lin Chuan to find it himself. Seeing that Lin Chuan was at a loss what to do, Yun Zi sighed softly and took the copied classics over. Minghen jade is born at the intersection of yin and yang. It can only be generated after the impact of the intersection of yin and yang in an environment where the natural energy of heaven and earth is extremely abundant. This condition is very harsh. Yin and yang are two extreme forces. It is difficult for human intervention to maintain the intersection for a long time, let alone in a natural environment. Anyone who can meet this condition must be a treasure. The 13 prefectures of Qingzhou have been occupied by the nine-tailed fox clan for thousands of years, and such treasures have probably been discovered long ago. Where would it be her and Ah Chuan's turn to come? Taoist priest, is there any way? Lin Chuan held a glimmer of hope. If it didn't work, he could only log into the large account. Reflecting the peak of forbidden love, there is still hope to find the god of war of pure love, who can control all spirits and ghosts, and can reach the other side of the netherworld. Let me try. Yun Zi cultivates the way of good fortune and luck, and his response to the nature of heaven and earth is far better than that of ordinary monks, and it is also possible to find it. My way is your guide. Search for the traces in heaven and earth. Yun Zi recited the incantation, his hands changed rapidly, forming extremely complex spells, and an illusory realm slowly unfolded around him. The mist is lingering, like a fairyland. This is one of the iconic magical powers of the Supreme Realm. Its name is the Supreme Legal Realm. Yun Zi's Supreme Law domain does not have too strong offensive power, but focuses more on defense and the increase of its own Taoism. Found it. After a long time, Yun Zi dispersed from the Supreme Legal Realm. In my perception, there are two places where the power of yin and yang meet in the 13 states of Qingzhou. If the Minghen jade really exists, it must be in these two places. Let's go. The two flew away with their swords and landed in another place. Fortunately, this place is not occupied by the nine-tailed fox clan, and it is an unclaimed land. Yun Zi said, the intersection of yin and yang is deep underground, and even my senses are extremely vague. Fortunately, it is hidden deep enough, otherwise we would definitely not be part of it. Lin Chuan echoed. It seems that we have both luck and strength. The two of them escaped and moved forward. Wrong. Yun Zi soon discovered another clue. Things don't seem to be that simple. A powerful person has already been to this place. Lin Chuan frowned. Mighty. Yun Zi nodded. If I guess correctly, he should be the great master who guided you to the 13 prefectures of Qingzhou. Lin Chuan was thoughtful. It turns out that Yan Baikung had already made arrangements. In order to be tortured by me again, that guy really worked hard. Yun Zi suddenly realized, I can sense it because you were in my supreme legal domain, and I can find it with the guidance of your breath. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to break through that restriction. Yun Zi became more and more aware of the mystery and power of Lin Chuan's previous reincarnations, which made her increasingly sense of crisis. Ah Chuan may be carrying more than she imagined. Lin Chuan laughed at himself. Without your help, Taoist master, I would have struggled to come to Qingzhou on my own. Yun Zi glanced at Lin Chuan with a burning gaze, always feeling that the latter had some hidden tricks. Now that Akwan has awakened the memory of the vixen's life, he will definitely not be as weak as he appears. One day, I will know everything. During the exchange, Yun Zi released the restriction. In an instant, the yin and yang energy merged and rushed out. Yun Zi instantly opened the supreme legal domain, protecting Lin Chuan behind him, and at the same time forcibly suppressed the rioting atmosphere. After calming down, they looked forward. Their eyes were attracted by a piece of jade suspended in the air. The two chi of yin and yang are like black and white dragons, rotating back and forth around the jade. That should be the Minghen jade. Lin Chuan was in an excited mood, and the delicate remnant soul of Tushan in the sea of consciousness was also trembling slightly, expressing his desire for the Minghen jade. Take it and leave quickly. Yun Zi reminded. After all, this is the territory of the nine-tailed fox clan. Strange treasures will be born and strange phenomena will occur. If they know about it, they will definitely stop it. Good. Lin Chuan didn't want to cause more trouble and quickly took off the Minghan jade. But they still underestimated the role of the Minghan jade. The moment the jade was removed, it caused a tremor in the ground. The two chi of yin and yang that have lost their balance point are like countless wild horses running wild, rushing in all directions, and some of them even turn into light beams and shoot straight to the ground. The huge movement made the two people's expressions change. Yun Ziyi no longer cared about his manners, hugged Lin Chuan from the waist, and ran straight away. Lin Chuan. Hey, wait, I knew it. Yu Jianfei was flirted with when he came, but he was always a little more timid when he left. A man with a majestic body of 8 feet was actually hugged by a princess. Just as Yun Ziyi was about to travel through space, a huge palm suddenly fell from the sky and smashed the space into pieces. A powerful voice rang in my ears. Those who come leave treasures behind, but they can leave. What was supposed to come eventually came. In the territory of the Qingqiu Fox clan, it is not that simple to take away the important treasure. Even though Yan Baikong placed a ban around the Minghan jade so that the Nine-Tailed Fox clan did not discover the treasure still could not escape the Qingqiu Fox clan's perception after it was born. Yun Ziyi looked solemn and looked forward. 2 people walked out of the void, a man and a woman, with 9 fox tails behind them. 2 supremes. Sensing the realm of his opponent, Yun Ziyi's heart sank. He was worthy of being a powerful family in the world. He was only one of the 19 major states in Qingqiu, and was guarded by 2 supreme beings. This kind of strength is more than a star and a half stronger than Qingyunzhou. Is a battle inevitable after all? Lin Chuan sighed. Even though he was well prepared, he was still a little reluctant to use up one of his trump cards. I'm at Bai village of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. Next to me is Bai Lang, the tribe's sister. 2 fellow Taoists, please hand over the treasure. The male supreme said, any treasure that appears in the world of Qingqiu belongs to Qingqiu. I hope fellow Taoists will know it and don't hurt their harmony. Yun Ziyi snorted coldly. Treasures are born naturally, and those who are destined to get them can get them. This state is named after Qingqiu, which does not mean that they all belong to your Nine-Tailed Fox clan. If fellow Taoists insist on fighting, don't blame us for being rude. The female supreme gaze fell on Lin Chuan. Even though my fellow Taoist has some abilities, you alone can't protect them all. Yun Ziyi frowned and whispered. Fellow Taoist Lin, you decide whether to fight or hand over the treasure. There are 2 supreme realms on the other side. I may not be able to protect you in a fight. If Yun Ziyi was the only one, she would naturally have nothing to fear. Taking Lin Chuan into consideration, he had to give in. It's impossible to hand over the Minghan jade. The duck in the mouth has no chance of flying out. Lin Chuan's heart is ready to land in the big box. Then I'll try my best. Yun Ziyi took a deep breath. Since fellow Taoists are stubborn, no wonder we are the ones to blame. The 2 supreme beings of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan lost their patience and instantly launched the supreme law domain. The legal domain unfolded. The fox tails behind the 2 people disappeared. 3 dark yellow lines grew on the left and right sides of the cheeks, and red air flow surged around the body. At the same time, 9 huge fox tails sprouted from the ground behind them, covering the sky and the sun. A soul-like legal domain. Yun Ziyi could clearly feel that her 7 emotions and 6 desires were being constantly provoked, and the opponent's 2 soul realms were superimposed and impacted alternately, making her extremely uncomfortable. Fortunately, her legal domain is good at defense and she will not really fall into the temptation of the Nine-Tailed Fox. To her surprise, Lin Chuan was not affected at all. In a moment, a small pure white Nine-Tailed Fox soul floated out from behind Lin Chuan. The little fox floated on Lin Chuan's shoulder, with bulging cheeks and angrily staring at the 2 fox supremes opposite. Bai Zhuang and Bai Lang were stunned for a moment. The remaining soul of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. Judging from the appearance, it seems to be a Nine-Tailed Fox from the Tushan clan. Why is the proud Nine-Tailed Fox willing to attach itself to a weak human race? Wrong. It was this human race that restrained the little Kyubi. Bai Lang suddenly became furious. Human race. How dare you imprison the soul of the Nine-Tailed Fox? Lin Chuan. What imprisonment? Lady Zhao Zhao and I are in pure love. If you have 9 tails, can't you grow a brain? Lin Chuan opened his little mouth and spit out fragrance. Court death. The dignified supreme being was actually verbally insulted by a mere mortal in the reborn realm. Bai Lang was furious, and the supreme legal domain expanded again. Bai Zhuang also used his magical power, and the supreme legal domain kept changing between reality and reality, with 9 huge tails entwining to block Yun Zi's lucky magic domain. Lin Chuan lost his asylum. Bai Lang came closer in an instant, killing someone in the realm of rebirth. It was like picking something out of a bag for her. The imagined scene of easily removing the opponent's head did not appear, and the arm seemed to have penetrated into a void. Immediately afterwards, a huge black spiritual energy spread mightily, and in just a few breaths, the 13 states of Qingzhou turned from day to dark, and the scene completely changed. Bai Lang retreated violently, a chill running down his spine. I don't know when the earth turned into a sword burial mound, and the ground was filled with densely packed swords transformed by spiritual energy. On the sky, it was like a black ocean hanging upside down, and the surging black tide seemed to swallow everything up. His eyes finally fell on the human boy. The boy, who was still a bit immature, seemed to have turned into a cold, arrogant and aloof person in an instant. That kind of temperament can be described as an earth-shaking change. Such a terrifying supreme legal realm had never been seen before, and it made her soul tremble. Equally frightened was Bai Zhuang, another supreme leader of the Fox clan. His eyes were full of disbelief, and the black wave hanging upside down in the sky made him suffocated. They were both in the supreme realm, but the opponent's legal domain directly swallowed up his legal domain. The gap between them is so huge that it is despairing. The most shocked person was Yun Zi. He looked at Lin Chuan, who was surrounded by black energy, and his temperament changed drastically. His face was full of shock. Is this the power of Agawa's life? Such a terrifying aura is far better than mine. Witnessing Aquan in another reincarnation with his own eyes gave Yun Zi an unprecedented subversion. Ignoring others, Lin Chuan stood silently and pulled out the sword of true soul love from his chest. Now he only has one feeling. It's so cool to log into the big account. He had a premonition that the God of pure love would be very powerful after reflecting reality, but he didn't expect it to be so powerful, far beyond his expectation. Without the restrictions of the rules of heaven and earth, the peak of dream reincarnation is reflected in reality, and self-adaptation to the new rules of heaven and earth is completed. This is the fundamental reason why the pure love God of war is more powerful than dream reincarnation. Even the forbidden magical power, spirit burial realm, he developed has evolved into the supreme legal realm corresponding to the supreme realm in reality. Feeling the surging power all over his body, Lin Chuan felt refreshed as never before. Holding the soul of the sun, living together with the sun. The gentle whisper seemed to ring in my ears again. Lin Chuan reached out and took a sword from the cemetery and blended it into the sword of true love. A brand new magical power appeared in his mind. Hold the handle, draw the sword. Jiying's sword drawing technique. Whoosh. The next moment, Lin Chuan slashed out with the sword in his hand without any unnecessary movement. The 9-tailed fox Bai Lang was cut into 2 pieces without any warning. Bai Zhuang felt trapped in the mud and wanted to rescue him, but he couldn't move his legs. He could only watch the clan sister's soul flee in panic. Lin Chuan took a step forward, and the black air circulated, and he was in front of Bai Lang in an instant. He did not draw his sword again, but just stared at the opponent coldly. Behind her, Tushan's delicate soul floated out again. She only had half of her soul body, and her eyes were like those of an ignorant girl. Looking at Bai Lang, who is also a 9-tailed fox, Tushan's delicate remnant soul made intermittent sounds. He didn't imprison me. My love with him will never be bound. Tushan Zhaozhao's remnant soul seemed to have some consciousness. Lin Chuan took out the piece of Minghan jade, gently held it, crushed it to pieces, and said what Tushan Zhaozhao said to him in the reincarnation of forbidden love. All living things will know our love, right now. All living things will know our love, right now. The moment the words fell, countless treasures floated around Lin Chuan, all of which were necessary to revive Tushan's delicate soul. A huge formation slowly formed in the soul burial domain. Lin Chuan decided to take advantage of the peak moment of his power to complete Tushan Zhaozhao's soul resuscitation ceremony here. The soul burial realm. All ghosts roam the sky. Reciting the incantation softly, in the dark and boundless sword tomb, the 9 gates of hell rose from the ground and slowly opened. Countless hell spirits came out of it. Dry bones, Shira, Yaksha, Impermanence, Judge. They come this time not to make the world feel the fear of death, but to welcome reincarnation from hell to the human world. The ghosts and spirits recited supreme lamentations, and the natural energy between heaven and earth, and the ghostly energy from hell, continued to converge towards the delicate remnant soul of Tushan. The tomb is a dark painting, and Tushan Jiao is the only light here. Akwan, if you rescue her, will you still think of me again? Witnessing all this, Yunzi felt mixed emotions. I don't know whether to congratulate Akwan or mourn for myself. She looked at her sweetheart blankly, as if she was standing on the edge of the world. The 2 supreme masters of the 9-tailed fox clan, Bai Zhuang and Bai Lang, were hiding in the corner and shivering, fearing that they would be caught as supplements. The huge formation was filled bit by bit with the energy of heaven and earth. This is an extremely long process. Qingyunzhou, Yunmeng Ancient Forest. Mo Sangyu was sitting on the top of the clouds. Under his seat was the billowing red demonic energy, and above his head was a light blue ocean. On her body, the 2 auras of red and blue are constantly intertwined, and she is adapting to the rules of this world in an extremely strange way. Even her supreme legal domain is undergoing a shocking transformation. The red and blue legal domain disintegrated little by little, constantly blending with the astonishing Taoist charm emanating from Mo Sangyu's body. One after another, Tao principle fragments emerged from it and were laid out at her feet. Until it is completely woven into a road that belongs to oneself. The vision above Yunmeng Ancient Forest also disappeared. Mo Sangyu breathed a long sigh of relief, feeling more relaxed than ever before, and his body and soul had completely adapted to this world. At the same time, she also entered the first realm of the legendary realm, the Daoji realm. The supreme realm is the end of the 8 realms of cultivation. The strongest person under the legend, but he is still at the level of borrowing the power of heaven and earth. The Daoji realm is completely different. Anyone who steps into this realm needs to smash the realm of the supreme law, weave a path of their own, and be recognized by the 3,000 avenues of the chaotic universe. Only in this way can it be respected as a legend. I am the 3,000 ways of chaos, and no one in the world can recite it. This is the reason why monks in the world are silent about the legendary realm. There are rumors in the world that if the monks under the legend dare to arrange events above the legend at will, they will most likely be punished by heaven. But this is just a rumor. It is more likely that he was beaten to death by the monks in the legendary realm before receiving any invisible punishment from heaven. The realm of legend is really wonderful. Mo Sangyu stood up leisurely, in a bright mood. Even though Daoji realm is just the first step into the legend, it is still a huge transformation, like emerging from a cocoon and becoming a butterfly, soaring into the sky from then on. Having finally taken this step, Mengmeng's injury should be able to get better. There are 2 reasons why Mo Sangyu is eager to enter the legendary realm. The first is to quickly find a way to restore husband Lin Chuan's memory. The second is to get her daughter Lin Rumeng out of that weird state. In the lower realm, after her battle with Lin Chuan, her 2 personalities finally merged and she found an opportunity to ascend. She could have ascended earlier, but found that her daughter was restricted by the laws of heaven and earth and could not ascend with her. At that time, she was already in a dilemma. If you leave your daughter in the lower world, it will be difficult for your young, naive and ignorant daughter to survive. Mo Sangyu could only choose to fight hard, try his best to protect his daughter, and ascend to the upper world together, but his daughter turned into a strange state after ascending. Yazi doesn't look too smart. Mo Sangyu felt that all this should be related to Lin Chuan, the father. Let's go see how my Mengmeng is doing first. My husband loves Mengmeng so much that he won't let her be wronged, right? But beware of that bad woman. And that vixen. In the blink of an eye, Mo Sangyu had arrived at the Lin mansion. What happened? Mo Sangyu noticed something unusual. There seemed to be a layer of hazy luck surrounding the Lin mansion, forming a special shield. The way of luck. Is it that bad woman's method? As expected, while I was away, she seduced her husband again. From the looks of it, I'm afraid he's already living there. Whoosh! Mo Sangyu instantly entered the state of the Red Demon Lord. Naturally, the formation of mere luck could not stop her at the Daoji realm. With a flicker of her eye, she arrived at the Lin mansion. Spiritual consciousness instantly enveloped the entire Lin mansion. What's going on? Neither my husband nor that bad woman are here. He must have been out fooling around. Mo Sangyu was so angry that he stamped his feet. Lin Chuan, you actually left Mengmeng here alone without her daughter, but went out to fool around with that bad woman. Don't let me catch you. This time I will drain you dry no matter what I say. In a fit of anger, Mo Sangyu made an angry decision. As for the words, if you can't remember me, you will forget me in reincarnation, that was what Lanchun Mo Sangyu said. What does it have to do with me, Demon Lord Mo Sangyu? After some deductions, Mo Sangyu quickly deduced the approximate location of Lin Chuan and escaped through the space. The dragon clan belongs to the territory and dominates Shazhou. Between heaven and earth, two figures are fighting fiercely. The former looks like a turtle and is named Ba Sha. He is the blood descendant of the combination of the dragon clan and the black turtle clan. The person he was fighting against was a woman in black with a graceful figure, but she had a pair of dragon horns. She was the dragon girl who had awakened the blood of the true dragon. In the end, the turtle-shaped Baxia was defeated and fell to the ground. Yexue, you have become stronger again. I'm afraid you are no better than the direct descendants of the true dragon clan. The defeated Baxia congratulated with a smile. The true dragons have always looked down on these dragon hybrids. Now that Yi Shui has appeared among the mixed blood, it is naturally a matter of joy to give them a sigh of relief. Process. Yi Shui clasped her fists. My cultivation path is so smooth thanks to your help. Ba Sha smiled and said, as long as you can win a spot for us hybrids in the True Dragon Conference, everything will be worth it. I'll try. Yi Shui nodded, her expression suddenly changed, a sudden feeling came over her heart, and her eyes revealed an unbelievable look. Is it him? He's back. Who? Ba Sha was dumbfounded. Who is so proud? Can Yi Shui, who is as cold as an iceberg, show such an expression? No one answered him. Following a burst of space fluctuations, Yi Shui disappeared without a trace. Qingzhou 13 prefectures. The natural energy of heaven and earth continued to gather, and the irrigation array lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. Tushan Zhaojiao's soul resuscitation ceremony was finally completed. Lin Chuan stood in the center of the formation, enjoying the worship of all ghosts and spirits, and welcoming the reincarnation from hell to the human world. The little fox floating on his shoulder was wrapped in the energy of nature and the netherworld, and Lin Chuan also felt his soul being pulled. In his soul, there is a part that belongs to Tushan Zhaojiao. That part of the soul energy is now returning to Tushan Zhaojiao's body, but their souls are still involved in a very strange way. Hold on to the soul of the sun and live with the sun. The contract is concluded and will never be separated. The little fox's body turned into a dazzling white light, gradually grew, and finally turned into a huge 9-tailed white fox. In an instant, she turned into a human again. A familiar figure came into view. Lin Chuan stared closely at the charming figure standing in front of him. Finally, did you succeed? Tushan Zhaojiao is still a soul body, a complete soul body. Her eyes were a little dull, and she stared at Lin Chuan blankly. You are my husband. Are you Wu Yu? No. Your name is Lin Chuan. Lin Chuan was shocked. Did he fail? Lady Zhaojiao didn't seem to have recovered her complete memory, but only vaguely remembered him. While thinking, Tushan Zhaojiao floated in front of him and kissed him gently on the lips. There is a different kind of beauty in the kiss between souls. Zhaojiao, do you still remember me? Lin Chuan asked in a low voice. I remember, but I seem to have forgotten some. Tushan Zhaojiao thought hard. I can't remember many things, but I know that you are Zhaojiao's husband, and you have always been. Lin Chuan breathed a long sigh of relief. As expected, the art of soul resuscitation still has flaws, but fortunately Lady Zhaojiao still remembers the key things. You have just recovered. Don't think too much about it. You will always remember it in the long years to come. Tushan Zhaojiao smiled. Zhaojiao loves her husband the most. After saying that, he got into Lin Chuan's arms. My husband also loves Zhaojiao the most. Lin Chuan caressed Tushan's delicate soul and responded enthusiastically. Just the next second, the rising enthusiasm was extinguished by the cold light coming from behind. Suffer. Too involved. I forgot that there is a small green plum vinegar jar here. Resurrecting the charming lady is a sense of responsibility. After the resurrection, it will be a pure Shira field. Husband, is she also your wife? Tushin Zhao in her arms spoke quietly. The two communicate in the voice of their souls, and outsiders are not allowed to listen. Lin Chuan remembered something. Lady Zhao can read minds. As for whether it is true or false, he doesn't know. Anyway, he was completely fooled in the forbidden love reincarnation. Even if Lady Zhao cannot read his mind, she can definitely sense his emotional fluctuations when their souls are fused. This. Wouldn't it be like shooting yourself in the foot? Not to mention that there was a more fierce lady who didn't come. If Mo Sangyu came too, the scene would be too beautiful for Lin Chuan to even think about. Thinking of this, Lin Chuan was sweating profusely. Dog system. Are you forcing me to follow the path of a scumbag? Each woman was stronger than the other, so the only thing Lin Chuan could do was to eat soft food and vent his anger by scolding the system. Husband, why don't you answer me? Tushin Zhao asked, is she your wife? Maybe what does it mean? Tushin said Zhao. You obviously have feelings for her, but you can't hide it from me, huh? Lin Chuan's mind was running rapidly, and he was 10,000 times smarter than an immortal receiving enlightenment. All kinds of remedies popped up in his mind. Immediately, he put on an affectionate look. Zhao, you should know that I am no longer Tushin Wuyu, but Lin Chuan. Just as you only remember me and have lost many memories, I only remember you and have also lost many memories. What I mean by maybe is that I think maybe I had an intersection with her in my previous life. When I saw her, I felt a sense of similarity to you. Quote. Tushin Zhao tilted her head, her expression blank, and she thought for a long time. What your husband said seems to make sense, but something is wrong. It took a long time before I finally came up with one sentence. What you mean, husband, is that after our life ended, you reincarnated many times and had other relationships. Yes, Lin Chuan nodded. At this moment, Lin Chuan's pressure was unprecedentedly huge. I don't know what kind of Shira field awaits me ahead. After staring blankly at Lin Chuan for a while, Tushin Zhao spoke again. Now that Zhao knows it, it's like my husband always remembers Zhao and wants to revive Zhao's soul. That beautiful sister must have always wanted her husband to remember her, right? You are all trying your best to find the love in your heart. Zhao will not be so selfish. This is not your husband's fault, it is a trick of reincarnation. Tushin Zhao's words almost made Lin Chuan burst into tears. Saved. My lovely wife. She is so considerate. Tushin Zhao smiled and said, my husband must have endured a lot of suffering in order to revive Zhao's soul. Isn't that the same for my sister? If your husband remembers everything about that sister, Zhao is willing to be your husband's wife with the beautiful sister. Tushin Zhao said these words with clear eyes. The tenderness stung Lin Chuan's conscience. My wife is so kind. From giving her a home to giving them a home, Lin Chuan went further and further on this road. The humble Lady Zhao laid a solid foundation for a harmonious and beautiful future. Stay still and don't wave. Lin Chuan took a deep breath. Although the little childhood sweetheart Yun Zi was jealous, she was also a lover and could be easily coaxed. Go back to the Lin mansion and coax her slowly. In my mind, the system prompts sounded. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the hidden side mission, Reincarnation Linkage. You have changed the ending of your wife, Tushin Zhao, in the real world, and you have gained 150,000 points this time. New system feature, Reincarnation Interaction, has been unlocked for you. Reincarnation Interaction. After entering the dream reincarnation, your subjective consciousness of the real body can interact with the characters in the dream reincarnation to change the direction of the dream reincarnation. Prerequisite for opening. The host's cultivation in the real world reaches the realm of divine soul. Number of major event interactions remaining, 3. Remaining number of daily event interactions, unlimited. Host, please remember that every reincarnation you have is your own. Another new function is opened, and the ontological consciousness guides the direction of dreams. This function is so cool, it makes people excited just thinking about it. Boom. At this moment, Lin Chuan felt violent fluctuations coming from outside the spirit burial realm, as if someone wanted to break his supreme legal realm from the outside. Legendary realm. Lin Chuan frowned. Is the legend of Qingqiu coming? This is a bit troublesome. Ancestor is here to save us. In the soul burial domain, Fox Clan Supreme Bai Zhuang and Bai Leng were extremely excited. Even though the mysterious man in front of them was so powerful that it was suffocating, completely beyond their understanding of the Supreme Realm. But they know very well that as long as they have not stepped into the legendary realm, they cannot match the legend. This is a theorem from ancient times. There are very few people who can break this theorem. They are all supreme beings who have achieved great achievements against the times. You can't run into one yourself, right? Boom. The next moment, the soul burial realm dissipated. But instead of being broken, Lin Chuan actively chose to disperse it. Who dares to cause trouble in Qingzhou? The legendary realm of the nine-tailed fox clan spoke, and the sound spread loudly, making Lin Chuan feel an extremely terrifying pressure. Lin Chuan clasped his fists. I am a casual cultivator. I passed by this place and saw a treasure being born. I picked it up casually without any intention of offending Qingzhou. The legend of the nine-tailed fox clan asked coldly. The bodies of my Qingzhou tribesmen were cut off, leaving only their souls. Is this what you said without any offense? Ancestor Bai Qing, these two people have taken away my treasure from the 13 prefectures of Qingzhou. The techniques they practice are extremely weird. I'm afraid they are demonic monks. Bai Leng complained. Devil monk, Bai Qing frowned. Bai Leng added. Not only is he a demon monk, he also imprisoned the Tushan clan's nine-tailed fox clan and controlled their souls. Lin Chuan's face turned cold. He should have killed the nine-tailed fox first if he had known it. Out of fear of Qingzhou, he didn't take action. Furthermore, the other party and Lady Zhao Zhao were both nine-tailed foxes, and he did not want to bring bad luck to Tushan Zhao Zhao, who had just recovered. I didn't expect the other party to be so ungrateful. Tushan Zhao Zhao was even angrier than Lin Chuan, and her soul roared, don't talk nonsense. There is the purest love in the world between my husband and me, so there is no control. Enough, Bai Qing shouted angrily. No matter what, it is a fact that you have taken the treasure of Qingzhou and hurt our nine-tailed fox clan. Please come with me. Are you nine-tailed fox clan so unreasonable? Yun Ziyi took a step forward and said, the treasures here were laid out by our seniors thousands of years ago. We just followed the guidance of our seniors and came here to get the treasures. When did it become your Qingzhou thing? Moreover, it was Bethlehem, the fox, who first wanted to kill. It is her blessing that we spared her life, so why should we cause trouble? Even when faced with the legendary realm, Yun Ziyi was not afraid. This woman, what a tiger! Lin Chuan held his head. His mother-in-law was not only fierce in the house, but also more cruel than the other outside. If you really want to talk about it, if the monks in the legendary realm want to punish those under the legendary realm, they only need one reason, and that is, the legend cannot be insulted. Lin Chuan no longer had any hope of defending himself, and was ready to use the bury the spirit realm, cross the other shore, to leave the 13 prefectures of Qingzhou. This is a forbidden technique created by him in his previous life, which can teleport over a large area regardless of restrictions. I, Qingzhou, will punish you for what happened in Bethlehem. It's not your turn to discipline Qingzhou. If you two continue to resist, don't blame me for being unreasonable. As soon as he finished speaking, Bai Qing slapped him down with a palm. The condensed big hand of Dao destroyed everything, and the terrifying coercion swept across all directions. The strength of the legendary realm was undoubtedly revealed at this moment. Lin Chuan stepped forward and stopped in front of Yun Ziyi, and the soul burial realm unfolded again. At this moment, a blood-red arrow came through the space and shot directly through Dao Zi's transformed giant palm. Then a second arrow flew in, showing its sharp edge, killing Bai Leng and Bai Zhuang, the two supreme fox tribesmen, on the spot. Bai Qing's face changed suddenly, and he looked at the fluctuating space ahead, where a woman in a red dress walked out. She seemed to be a legend. If Qingzhou doesn't discipline you, I will discipline you for you. A cold voice filled the air. Who are you? Bai Qing stared at the woman in front of him, in disbelief. Compared with the shock that the other party's strength brought to him, what shocked him more was the woman's temperament and appearance. The appearance and temperament of the nine-tailed fox clan are among the best among all clans. Seeing this woman, he felt that there was no one in Qingzhou who could compare with her. The person who came was none other than Mo Sangyu. Faced with Bai Qing's question, Mo Sangyu's answer was even more simple and rude. Who am I, you ask? Of course he is what you call a demon cultivator. People like my husband are too kind and can only be considered good people, but they cannot be demon cultivators. These words made Bai Qing's face completely gloomy. How dare you, a mere demon cultivator, insult Qingqiu so wantonly? It seems that I, Qingqiu, have been at peace for too long, and all the creatures in the world have forgotten us. Bai Qing transformed into the nine-tailed fox. Mo Sangyu sneered. The thing I hate most is the vixen. The war was about to break out, and the two sides made a tacit agreement not to take action in the 13 states of Qingqiu, but entered the void and soon disappeared. Lin Chuan broke into a cold sweat. Why did my demon queen break through again? Is this a legend? Beside you, a faint voice sounded again. Husband, is this more beautiful which sister also your wife? It seems, yes, Lin Chuan replied ambiguously. It seems that my husband is really lucky. Tushan Zhaozhao smiled half-heartedly. How many ladies do you have? Please call them over. Let's all be honest with each other and talk about them. Such a sinister tone. Lady Zhaozhao was obviously jealous too. There's no need to be honest with each other. There are some things that I don't even know myself, which can easily cause unnecessary trouble. Lin Chuan replied seriously. In comparison, only Lady Zhaozhao is easier to fool, while the other two are simply untouchable. As for being honest with each other, with Demon Lord Mo Sangyu here, this matter cannot be accomplished. That one was so crazy that he could pack up Yun Ziyi, Tushan Zhaozhao and himself. The saddest person in the audience was undoubtedly Yun Ziyi. It's just a matter of witnessing the sweetheart and the vixen playing tricks on each other. Ah Chuan remembers the vixen's life, and he can only recognize it. Now that the fierce witch has broken through the legendary realm, making her already few advantages even more miserable, how can she still fight? No, the less advantage I have, the more I have to fight. Yun Ziyi clenched her fists. It's all love from the past life. It's not certain who will win and who will lose. I don't believe Akwon will forget me. The three women have different thoughts. Lin Chuan's brain was about to explode. In the dream I was as strong as an ox, but in reality I couldn't beat a woman. Anyone who comes to you can make him dry, and he will be exhausted physically and mentally. Just as he was thinking about it, the space was turbulent again, and a beautiful figure in red with a big bow on his back walked out of the void, and Mo Sangyu came back. The legendary figure from the nine-tailed fox clan has disappeared. Mo Sangyu was filled with demonic energy, and his eyes fell on Lin Chuan. To be more precise, they focused on Tushan's delicate soul. Vixen. As the three words were spoken, the already tense atmosphere suddenly reached the extreme. Lin Chuan's nerves were tense, more nervous than when he faced the legendary realm of the fox tribe. Can Mo Sangyu, who is full of anger, be reasonable? However, facing Mo Sangyu's provocation, Tushan Zhaozhao just stared at him blankly. Sister, are you praising me? Sister, are you praising me? The dull eyes, the sincere tone, and Tushan's Zhaozhao innocent expression made the whole place fall silent for a moment. But just for a moment, Mo Sangyu's anger reignited again. Provocative. Kai Guguo's provocation. Why do you, a vixen, don't think that your husband remembers you? Just when Mo Sangyu was about to teach the vixen a lesson, another voice sounded in his mind. Can't take action. You can't fall for this vixen. Mo Sangyu then thought about it. The vixen deliberately used this coquettish tone to lure her into anger, making her husband feel that the other party was gentle and he was cruel. Will my mighty demon lord be fooled like this? His posture changed, his eyes looked sternly, looking down at Tushan Zhaozhao. Fox, I saved you, why don't you come over and thank me? Pretending, right, I am a demon, who can pretend to be better than me? What surprised Mo Sangyu was that the vixen actually bowed to her respectfully. Zhaozhao, thank you for saving my life. Lin Chuan followed and bowed. Thank you, girl, for saving my life. After saying that, Tushan Zhaozhao turned to Yun Ziyi and said, Zhaozhao also thanks you for saving my life. Mo Sangyu and Yun Ziyi frowned at the same time. Is this vixen really fake? Only Lin Chuan could feel that Tushan Zhaozhao's two bows were sincere, without any mockery. Tushan Zhaozhao, who has lost a lot of memories, seems to be much more stuck than before. There's no need to thank you. Mo Sangyu remained cold and arrogant. I don't need your thanks. I didn't save you in the first place. Tu Shan smiled sweetly and said, you just saved me if you don't care about your deeds or your heart. What a white lotus. Tolerate. I can't bear it any longer. In Mo Sangyu's mind, heaven and man were intertwined, and the big red bow behind his back was about to move. Well, you three, listen to me. Lin Chuan finally stood up. This is Qingqiu's territory. If anything happens, let's discuss it after we go back, okay? Although the legendary realm of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan was driven away by Mo Sangyu, there is more than one legend in Qingqiu. There must be someone stronger than Mo Sangyu. If you stay here to play Shira Field, you will easily be taken advantage of. Mo Sangyu did not answer Lin Chuan's words, but raised his head to look at the clouds and said coldly, Your Excellency, you have been looking at it for so long, it's time to come down and have a chat, right? Lin Chuan was startled. There are still experts. Following Mo Sangyu as he looked towards the clouds, a cold and arrogant woman wearing a black robe, with two horns and a dragon's tail came down from the sky step by step. Yi, Yexue. Lin Chuan was surprised, why he didn't expect Yi Shui to come too. Husband, is this your wife too? In the sea of consciousness, Tushan Zhao's faint voice sounded again, it seems that after leaving Zhao, husband, you were really hungry. Lin Chuan had a question mark on his face. Zhao, don't you remember her? Who is it? Tu Shan Zhao asked in shock, have I known her before? Certainly, Lin Xuandao. She once saved us. If it weren't for her, maybe we wouldn't be where we are now. Tushan Zhao seemed to understand, but finally concluded. I understand, it turns out that in my lifetime, my husband married 2 wives. Lin Chuan almost spit out a mouthful of old blood. What kind of logic is this? Tu Shan smiled tenderly, just like the 2 beautiful sisters, Miss Yi Shui came to see you, and naturally she has the same purpose. Lin Chuan was stunned. It should. Not be. Aren't Yi Shui and I a pure friendship? But it doesn't matter anymore. Yi Shui's arrival at this time will inevitably cause misunderstandings. Especially Mo Zhangyu. Any woman who comes close to him will probably be judged as a love rival by Mo Sangyu. Mo Sangyu stared at Yi Shui, with more than a dozen blood-red arrows in his hand. Are you here to see Lin Chuan too? Yi Shui glanced at Lin Chuan and replied calmly, I happen to be passing by. Who are you lying to? How could Mo Sangyu not see Yi Shui's concern for her husband? Whatever you think, Yi Shui said with an indifferent expression, I'm leaving. I'll see you again if we have the chance. Before the words were spoken, there was no trace of the person. Mo Sangyu's eyes returned to Lin Chuan again. It seemed that he had underestimated his husband. My husband has great charm in every life. I just don't know how many relationships from the past life have yet to come to Dao. She didn't want to wait any longer. If we wait any longer, it is still unknown whether the husband's memory can be restored, but the love will definitely become more and more abundant. It is only right to squeeze your husband dry as soon as possible. Other women who want a husband should go find their husband in another life. Yun Ziyi became even more depressed. The originally small advantage seemed to be a little weaker, and the status was reduced by 1. Lin Chuan is like a light on his back. The only thing he could do was to act stupid and pretend he didn't know anything. As long as I don't remember anything, disaster will always be 1 step behind me. In my dream I scoffed. In the Shira field, it is regarded as the truth. Snort. Mo Sangyu snorted coldly and came to Lin Chuan's side in an instant. Let's go, I have something to talk to you about alone. When there was no reaction, Lin Chuan felt his eyes go dark and was taken into the void. It is finally over. For Lin Chuan, this is not a relief. Facing the attack from the 3 ladies, Mo Sangyu, Tushan Zhao and Yun Ziyi, they couldn't stand a chance. Even Yi Shui was included in them. Just facing a lady, wouldn't it be a relief? Being trapped in Mo Sangyu's arms, Lin Chuan had only one thought. Become stronger. I want to become stronger. Only by becoming stronger can one become a serf and sing. How can a man who is born in heaven and earth live in a state of depression and inferiority to women for a long time? I don't know how long it took, but the 5 senses recovered and the light returned. When Lin Chuan opened his eyes again, he had arrived at the Lin mansion and the bedroom. On the big bed, cute little Rumong was sleeping soundly. Mo Sangyu said coldly, Vixen, go out, I want to talk to my husband alone. Tushin's delicate soul floated out of Lin Chuan's body and said with a smile, I wish my sister good luck. After Tu Shan Zhaozhao left, Mo Sangyu waved his hand and set up a barrier, looking at Lin Chuan with burning eyes. Ask you again, do you remember me? Girl, why do you have to force yourself? Lin Chuan once again transformed into the Shadow Emperor. I admit that I have a close feeling for the girl, and maybe we are destined to be together. Maybe we have actually met, but I really don't remember what the girl said. Mo Sangyu's eyes narrowed. What about Rumong? Do you know whose child Rumong is? Of course he is my child. Lin Chuan said righteously. She is my child too. She is our common daughter. When you see Mengmeng and have been with her for so long, you really can't remember anything. Mo Sangyu pressed. Question marks popped up on Lin Chuan's head. Madam, did you promise to forget about reincarnation? You should give me some time. We are really not time management masters. Okay, forget it if you can't remember. Mo Sangyu gritted his teeth, but you must cooperate with me on one thing. I have found a way to change my daughter's condition. You should have noticed something unusual about Mengmeng, right? The battle between the 13 states in Qingzhou made Mo Sangyu have a great change in Lin Chuan's strength. My husband is not as weak as he seems. Perhaps the husband left some backups before reincarnation, so that he could borrow the power from his previous life. Whether it is the Burning Silence sword art, the Yongsan Divine Sword, or the supreme posture shown in the 13 states of Qingzhou, they all confirm this. Lin Chuan nodded and admitted, Mengmeng doesn't look like a real-life form. Yes, Mo Sangyu said solemnly. She can only stay normal if she is by your side and by my side. Lin Xuandao. What should we do? Mo Sangyu touched her daughter's cheek and felt something. You must already know the method. By pouring your and my life essence into Mengmeng's body, you can offset the weird curse on her. Yes, but the process is too long. Lin Chuan had used this method before, but he was exhausted every time, and the effect was not very good. Mo Sangyu said, by combining the life essence of you and me, and then using it to nourish the dream, you can greatly speed up this process. Lin Chuan was startled. Combined? How to combine? I will deduce a suitable technique to specialize in this aspect. As for what form it will take in the end, I am not sure. Mo Sangyu said seriously, but no matter what, you must cooperate with me. Lin Chuan put on a serious expression, not to mention Mengmeng and I are destined, the girl also saved my life, this kindness is difficult to repay. As long as the girl gives you orders, no matter what needs to be done, I am willing to sacrifice myself. Really? Mo Sangyu raised his eyebrows, there is something I really want to do with you. Do what? I'll tell you the day you remember my name. If I really have an experience of getting to know the girl, I will definitely remember it. It won't be long, Lin Chuan said seriously. I hope so. I hope that the day you remember it, you can give me a good explanation. Mo Sangyu kissed Lin Rumong on the forehead, stood up and left. In a word, the feeling of oppression is overwhelming. Explain. How to explain? Lin Chuan racked his brains and couldn't think of a way for Mo Sangyu, Tushin Zhaozhao and Yun Ziyi to live in harmony. Not to mention sleeping with a big quilt or something. Reincarnation in the dream world is still so comfortable. There are so many Shira fields. It's so wonderful to have the whole family happy. While I had a headache, a light suddenly flashed in my mind. Yes, can we reconcile the small family with everyone through dream reincarnation? Thinking of this, Lin Chuan immediately opened the eye of reincarnation and looked at Mo Sangyu who was walking out step by step. A line of information appears in front of you. Mo Sangyu. The number of reincarnations is 2. This is Mo Sangyu's 3rd reincarnation. In the first 2 reincarnations, she had a close relationship with you. However, there was no fate, and you both chose a path of fulfilling each other and being lonely. Lin Chuan couldn't help but be stunned when he saw this line of information. It turned out that we had seen it countless years ago. It's just that you forgot and I didn't remember either. It shouldn't be. Lin Chuan wondered, with my personality, when I see such a beautiful girl, I have no reason to let her go and foolishly embark on a lonely road. Lin Chuan still hasn't figured out the relationship between dream reincarnation and reality. Is it the cause and effect of reincarnation in dreams that affects reality? Or is the reality established and the outcome already determined? In other words, whether it is true or false, everything is not a foregone conclusion. At least there's a hope. Mo Sangyu's reincarnation information allowed Lin Chuan to see a broad road of love and harmony. Outside the house, it was another turbulent Shira battlefield. Yun Ziyi came back and made tea silently. Tu Shan's delicate soul body was swinging back and forth on the swing in the small courtyard, scaring the silly girl Luya so much that she hid in the corner and didn't dare to get close. As soon as Mo Sangyu came out, all eyes were focused on her. What a beautiful woman, even more beautiful than Priest Qingyu. Luya, who was eating melon in the corner, widened her eyes. Could she be Mengmeng's mother, the young master's rumored Taoist couple? Tushan Zhaozhao smiled. How was the conversation between sister and husband? I'm very satisfied. You don't need to worry about it. Mo Sangyu looked indifferent and didn't want to talk to Tushan Zhaozhao, who had already taken advantage of her. After all, I, the demon lord, never fight against the wind. He turned to Yun Ziyi and asked, you broke the rules. Who let you live in the Lin mansion? Yun Ziyi snorted coldly, you broke the rules first, so you have no right to control me. Besides, I need to take care of the White Lotus, the sacred object of the Lin mansion, and Akwon agreed. Fantasy. Mo Sangyu raised her eyebrows and looked at the white lotus planted in the courtyard. This lotus has such strong luck, it has brought you blessings. The white lotus with its pure appearance matches your temperament very well. Quote. Yun Ziyi said in a deep voice, you don't have to be weird with me here. We should be on the same line now. We are both reincarnated, so why does Akwon remember Tushan Zhaozhao but not us? Understanding the reason may be able to restore Akwon's memory in reincarnation. Compared to Demon Lord Mo Sangyu, Yun Ziyi is much calmer. She feels that at this time, we should unite the front and act unanimously to the outside world. Mo Sangyu sneered, what else could it be? Of course vixens are better at seducing people, and their bone-crushing methods of ecstasy will make my husband never forget it even after he is reincarnated. Tushan Zhaozhao smiled lightly, thank you sister for the compliment. Mo Sangyu silently clenched his fists. Isn't it great to have a reputation? Vixen, please wait for me. When I become the main palace, I will feel better with you. Bai Lianhua, since you have moved into Lin Mansion, you should take good care of this vixen and don't let your husband be sucked dry by her. When I return, my husband's memory will be restored. To restore memory, a medium is needed. External objects such as the burning silence sword technique are not enough. In comparison, a daughter who is connected by blood is more important. As long as the daughter's condition is changed, the husband may be able to remember the past. This is Mo Sangyu's plan. After saying that, Mo Sangyu turned and left. Yun Ziyi, out of sight and out of mind, turned away and began to practice the method of luck with the help of the pure world White Lotus. Tushan Zhaozhao floated into the house quietly and came to Lin Chuan, husband, the two sisters are very fiercely fighting for you. Lin Chuan was on the verge of crying, don't you think it's chaotic enough? Tushan Zhaozhao smiled lightly, Zhaozhao is helping her husband. Look, if it weren't for Zhaozhao's existence, the two sisters would have started fighting. With Sister Witch's temper, can she let Sister Lianhua live in the Lin mansion? This is all Zhaozhao's credit. Lin Chuan, it seems to make sense. Zhaozhao understands. My husband hopes to marry his two sisters back home. I don't know if he remembers them, but I feel like he can't deceive anyone. Tushan Zhaozhao's words made Lin Chuan silent. Fortunately, God guided him to choose the right path. If Tushan Zhaozhao were replaced by Mo Sangyu and Yun Ziyi, this family would already be in a state of chaos. Zhaozhao, thank you for your understanding. Ever since he knew that dreams and reality were connected, Lin Chuan had never thought about spending the rest of his life with just one of them. Harmony. Must be harmonious. It doesn't matter. Tushan Zhaozhao said gently. Zhaozhao was able to revive, not only because of your painstaking search for her husband, but also because of the help of two sisters. Without them, Zhaozhao might not be what it is today. The two sisters know that my husband went to Qingzhou to save me, but they still help us without hesitation. How can Zhaozhao be selfish? Speaking of this, Tushan Zhaozhao changed the subject. Even if we want to fight, we have to wait until my husband remembers the two sisters. Let's compete fairly together. That would be so exciting. Quote question mark. Lin Chuan almost couldn't catch his breath. After doing it for a long time, the delicate lady likes to play with big ones. Sure enough, A woman's heart is like a needle in the sea. Thinking of this, Lin Chuan opened the eye of reincarnation again and looked at Tushan's Jiaojiao soul body. Information display. Tushan Jiaojiao, number of reincarnations, 2. This is Tushan Jiaojiao's third life. You had a deep love in the first 2 lives, but in the end you regretted missing each other and chose the path of loneliness. Lin Chuan had already predicted that he and Mrs. Jiaojiao had a past life relationship. He looked at Yun Ziyi outside the room again. Information display. Yun Ziyi, number of reincarnations, 2. This is Yun Ziyi's third life. In her first life, you were the best friends and just friends. Aha, what are you doing with the dog system? Why is it that this life is all about true love, while the previous reincarnations are all about regrets? All the love debts owed in previous lives should be left to me in this life, right? Lin Chuan wanted to ask, dog system, were you scummed by me in your previous life and are you deliberately coming to take revenge on me in this life? Dreams and reality, if everything is still undecided and can still be changed, it proves that the idea of giving them a home can be realized. Not long ago, the system opened a new feature, reincarnation interaction. This function allows Lin Chuan's main consciousness in the real world to influence the direction of dream reincarnation, giving him 3 opportunities to change major events. Daily events can be freely interacted with unlimited times. In this way, even if the overall situation cannot be reversed, it is still better than having no way to start. Of course, the urinary nature of the system may have buried many pitfalls in previous lives. The simplest thing is that he had another wife in his previous life, and she was the one the matchmaker was marrying. Maybe that was the reason why he missed his wife. Although dreams can be roughly structured through entries are limited after all, and most events are randomly generated. But that's all. Lin Chuan silently made up his mind. New problems lie ahead. The free interaction function of reincarnation requires the soul realm to be activated, and now he is still in the rebirth realm. Fortunately, after logging into the large account, Pure Love God of War, his understanding of the Tao has been qualitatively improved, and many things that he could not understand during practice were suddenly understood. His realm has also reached the late stage of the reborn realm, and he will soon be able to enter the soul realm. Unable to obtain inspiration through long periods of dream reincarnation and idle practice, Lin Chuan could only break through in reality. Would you like to go to the Demon Slayer division to take on another mission? Lin Chuan's understanding of the real world is very little, and he has a broader understanding through the Demon Slayer division. But what he saw was still only a corner of the world. Not to mention him, even people like company boss Zhu Zhengji are just strong men from a corner of Qingyan Prefecture. Put into the entire Jushan realm, he is just a small person. However, reality is the main theme. Even if the system has the ability to reverse effects and turn causes, the future is more important than the past. The path we are taking now is all for the present and the future scenery. With an uneasy mood, Lin Chuan left the Lin mansion and went straight to the Demon Slayer department. A distant place, Jinglianzhou. 99 huge red light pillars fell from the sky, standing at the border of Jinglian State filled with scarlet aura. The light pillars are connected to each other, forming a continuous light curtain, blocking Jinglianzhou from the outside world. There are also weak and incomplete places where living things can come and go. At the gap in the light screen, a thin young man was walking slowly in the mud carrying a corpse. "Grandpa, I will definitely save you and avenge you." The young man raised his eyebrows and looked at the blood-filled earth in front of him. His thin body couldn't help but tremble, his face showed fear, but he soon became firm again. Following the gap in the light curtain, he set foot on the land of Jinglian State. The scene in front of him changed, and what caught the young man's eyes was a majestic mountain. On the top of the mountain, a huge blood lotus bloomed, extremely charming. Blood lotus. There really is a blood lotus. The gentleman in the village said that if those who step into Jinglian State can see the blood lotus, they can offer sacrifices to the blood lotus and gain the power of practitioners. A practitioner is capable of anything. As long as you become a practitioner, you can kill those bandits and save Grandpa. Thinking of this, the young man knelt down on his knees, prayed devoutly, and smashed his head on the muddy ground, making a small crater. Blood trickled down his forehead. The young man gritted his teeth and knocked his head down hard. Supreme Blood Lotus. Please give me strength. Give me the power to defeat the bandits, and give me the power to save my grandfather." The young man kept kowtowing and praying. His head was already a little dizzy and his vision became blurry. Vaguely, he saw a giant ape, which was actually higher than the towering mountain peaks, holding a golden stick in his hand that was thrust into the sky. "Your soul is very pure, not bad." The giant ape's powerful voice rang in the young man's ears. "Your grandfather has been dead for many days and cannot be resurrected, but I can lend you the power of revenge." The young man's thin body was shaken, and with tears streaming down his face, he took a deep look at his grandfather's body and nodded vigorously. "Please give me the power of revenge. I am willing to pay any price for it. I don't need anything from you." The giant ape said, "Kill the people you want to kill and sacrifice their blood to me. Then I will take back your power and our deal will be completed." The young man's eyes were burning with fire. "I will sacrifice the blood of the wicked to you." "Go ahead." The giant ape snapped his fingers and poured a scarlet mana into the young man's body. The young man thanked him again, buried his grandfather's body in Jinglianzhou, and left with firm steps. As the boy drifted away, the giant ape suddenly transformed into a 5-foot-long lean monkey. 5,000 years have passed, and the seal has gradually dissipated. "Monkey, I finally made it to this day. Master, you haven't come to see me for 5,000 years. Are you still there? No matter what you become, I will find you, monkey." Yandu Demon Slayer Division. Lin Chuan arrived at the company's office, Zhu Zhengji's office. "Company, I heard that the Demon Slayer department has been very busy recently due to the investigation of demon cultivators. I am willing to do my best to slay demons together with my colleagues." "Yo." Zhu Zhengji raised his eyebrows. "The sun is rising in the west today." Although he was joking, Zhu Zhengji's face was full of smiles, without any hint of displeasure. With just a brief sense, he could detect Lin Chuan's realm. "How long has it been since we last met, and this kid has already entered the late stage of rebirth. This speed of cultivation was beyond the reach of even him when he was young. Lin Chuan is a little crazy, but he has the capital to be crazy. The work of demon cultivation does require a lot of manpower. It doesn't matter if you come here, you can not only help, but it will also be a kind of training for yourself." Zhu Zhengji pointed to the wooden table next to him, on which were piled up a hill of files. "Take a closer look, this matter is getting worse. Especially in remote areas, the situation has become a mess. The Demon Slayer department has used all its manpower and recruited 90% of the private demon slayers, but it is still difficult to suppress it." Zhu Zhengji's words made Lin Chuan's eyelids jump. Is it serious enough? When he was chasing the female demon cultivator who stole the baby a few days ago, Lin Chuan didn't pay too much attention and just regarded it as an ordinary commotion. "I didn't expect the situation to develop so seriously." Zhu Zhengji sighed. "It's not just the Yan dynasty that is in chaos. Daqi and Nanzhao are also in trouble. I even heard that the monster area headed by Yunmeng Ancient Forest is not peaceful." Lin Chuan frowned, then he had to take care of this matter. Otherwise, it is likely to harm the Lin family and his sister. "May I ask the company if this matter was caused by factors outside Qingyan Prefecture?" "Most likely." Zhu Zhengji nodded. "You should read the file first. After reading it, it will be clear." "Good." Lin Chuan buried his head in reading the files. The first case involved a long-term worker who wiped out the whole family of a local rich man because the rich man unreasonably deducted the shortfall. In the second case, a woman chopped off the lifeblood of 19 young masters because they were bullied. In the third case, a sesame seed vendor beat his wife and a rich young man to death because the wife had committed adultery with the rich young man. Combined with the incident of the female demon cultivator stealing a baby to save her own child, it is easy to see a similarity between these events. That means the troublemakers are from a weak background. At least compared to the victims. In the eyes of many monks, weak people are more likely to fall into the devil's path due to resentment in their hearts. After gaining stronger power, they are also more likely to lose themselves. According to the incidents recorded in the files, after these weaklings gained the power to take revenge, many of them aimed their butcher knives at innocent people because of their world weariness. Others chose to surrender or commit suicide. The last part disappeared without a trace. There is obviously an invisible hand behind everything pushing everything. The demonic forces come from outside Qingyan state, and they are probably powerful people that even the company can't do anything about. Zhu Zhengji said in a deep voice. Boy Lin, I have read the file, please tell me your opinion. Lin Chuan thought, is this a powerful person who wants to uphold justice for the weak? Since you are so powerful, how can you not understand the law of the jungle? If you just stand up for the weak, this kind of behavior will be useless. Zhu Zhengji shook his head. The power behind it is to let the living beings release their own desires. It is more like using some kind of magic to absorb the killing emotions of the living beings. Use killing and blood to nourish yourself. An idea came to Lin Chuan's mind. Zhu Zhengji said seriously. During the investigation of the Demon Slayer division, we collected some information. The power obtained by the rebels comes from the same source, and some of the rebels who surrendered themselves chose to confess. At first I thought this was a method used by demonic monks to lend strength to the weak and let them sacrifice their souls or lives. It was later discovered that the person behind the scenes only gave power to these creatures without receiving anything in return. He would even take back the power from the perpetrators after they completed their revenge. It seems that the purpose of the person behind the scenes is very simple. He wants to completely stimulate the desire to kill in the souls that are already desperate and have the seeds of killing in their hearts, and then complete their revenge in a way outside the law. For ordinary living beings, this is naturally very satisfying. They will feel that the oppressor deserves to die. But for those who were affected by the disaster and died tragically innocently, this is an absolutely unreasonable disaster. For the government and the laws of the dynasty, this is even more provocative. Everyone goes his own way and has his own reasons. The situation is now very difficult to deal with. Zhu Zhengji talked a lot, with helplessness in his tone. Lin Chuan only had 4 words in his mind. Purifying blood lotus. Buddha's son purifies the world in the dream of reincarnation. His reincarnation body used the blood lotus of purification to launch a turmoil against Buddhism. All living beings in the entire Buddhist world were lost in desire, and started endless killing until only he and the monkey were left. It ended with him assimilating the blood lotus and suppressing the monkeys for 5,000 years. The expansion of desire is unimaginable. When the desire of the entire world expands to the extreme, no one can stay away. Compared with the madness of dream reincarnation in Buddha's purification of the world, this is just the beginning. Monkey, is he still there? Compared with the chaos, Lin Chuan is more concerned about whether the monkey is still there. So many dream reincarnations have been reflected in reality, and the Buddha's purifying world reincarnation will probably not be any exception. But he didn't know which timeline the reincarnation of Buddha's Sun Pure World was on. Can the monkey who has been trapped under that mountain for 5,000 years survive, or will his body and soul be swallowed up by the blood lotus? Nothing is known. Boy Lin, why are you so stunned? Zhu Zhengji's voice pulled Lin Chuan out of his thoughts. How do you think we should handle this matter? Lin Chuan spread his hands and said, Sir, I know nothing about governing the country. If you let me do it, I will definitely kill when I need to, rule when I need to, and do whatever I stand on. You kid. Zhu Zhengji raised his forehead and said, no one can compare to you in terms of your ability to reconcile mud. This kind of argument is ruthless, and it is impossible to say right or wrong based on subjective consciousness. In terms of reason, everyone has his own reason. The only thing that doesn't make sense is the victims, but they are all dead. Okay, you pick a task to do. Zhu Zhengji did not let Lin Chuan continue to express his views. He was not strong enough to trace the source, and reasoning was useless. A strong fist can make sense. Just like the Eldar before. Originally, the law did not recognize the existence of the spirit race, and morality did not recognize the existence of the spirit race, but the mysterious demon supreme settled everything with an order. The existence of the Eldar tribe is now justified. Thank you, company. Lin Chuan picked a task, then I will take my leave. Zhu Zhengji nodded and warned. Be careful during the mission. The Demon Slayer division has a bad reputation in the eyes of those people now, and is even regarded as an accomplice of the oppressors. Officials protect officials and the people help the people. This has been the case since ancient times. Lin Chuan took the file and left. Under the influence of the demon cultivator, the situation outside Yandu has become extremely chaotic. The task he took was a county town 1,000 miles away from Yandu. If all this really happened because of the pure world blood lotus, then the chaos would expand at a faster rate. Too many people have injustices in their hearts. If everyone knew that there was a way to realize their desires, they would plunge into it as soon as they got excited. Patience requires constant suppression, but impulse only requires a momentary rise. Lin Chuan accepted the task, more because he wanted to trace the origin. Running all the way. In just half a day, we arrived at the mission location outside Beishui County. When the night was dark and the wind was high, Lin Chuan was just about to enter the city, when Tushan's delicate soul rang in his mind. Husband, there are bad guys following you. Because there is no reason to reshape the body, Tushan Zhaozhao still lives in Lin Chuan's body. Reshaping the body is a troublesome matter, and finding a body that perfectly fits the soul is even more difficult. The most important thing is that Tushan Zhaozhao prefers to be in the same nest with Lin Chuanu than to be independent physically. My whereabouts exposed. Lin Chuan was surprised. Only one person in the company knew about the mission he took, so how could he be followed? The company has no reason to harm him. Can you beat me? Lin Chuan asked. Of course it's okay to be a Zhaozhao, but it's difficult for a husband. The remnant soul of Tushan Zhaozhao has been nurtured by the spirit clan for 3,000 years. Her own strength is not weak, and she still maintains super strong combat power after being revived. Even without a physical body, he can still exert the combat power of a saint. They're coming. After Tushan Zhaozhao finished speaking, a figure walked out of the night, carrying a big sword and with 6 flying fish patterns on its waist. He is actually a 6-marked demon slayer. The 6 lines represent the cultivation of the 6th realm of Tianhe among the 8 realms of cultivation. In the demon-slaying division, such a figure has a status second only to that of the company. The governors from all over the country must treat him with respect when they see him. He can be said to be extremely powerful. Lin Chuan thought about it and found that except for the company, he rarely interacted with other people in the demon slayer division. When did you provoke such a person? It's really not easy for you to discover that I am worthy of the inheritance of sword cultivation. The visitor spoke with a cold tone and strong murderous intent. Lin Chuan asked, I have no enmity with you, why did you stop me? What do you think? The person pulled out the big sword from behind, put his fingers together, and lightly wiped the sword's spine. The big sword made a buzzing sound. I've been watching you for a long time. With the speed with which you broke through the realm and the strength you showed in the mission, you must have gained the true inheritance of swordsmanship. Leave your inheritance to me and you can die easily. I can also promise you that I will not touch the Lin mansion and your sister Lin Yangyang in Yandu, otherwise. Lin Chuan didn't expect that he was being targeted because of the so-called sword cultivation inheritance. He grinned, and the Yongsan divine sword suddenly unsheathed and pointed at the opponent. The inheritance is here, but you have no life to take it. I will discipline you for the company. Shameless talk. The visitor sneered, don't say you are not qualified to say this. When I take away the inheritance, that pedantic old man Zhu Zhengji will also die. He corrupted the Yan dynasty and delayed the Demon Slayer division for a long time. It turns out that we have been grudges for a long time. Lin Chuan has long been accustomed to political disputes. You should be the Pei Yangxing that our company often talks about. Our company's evaluation of you is that you are capable of governing 1,000 people, but incapable of governing 10,000 people. At this time, Tushan Zhaozhao reminded, Husband, there is a special aura hidden in his body, which is very similar to the red seed you are carrying. That's it. Lin Chuan suddenly realized, even the top leaders of the demon-slaying department were affected by the pure world red lotus. It is no wonder that the entire great Yan dynasty was in chaos. When desire is stimulated, it is difficult for any creature to resist the temptation. In the political dispute, each faction has its own ideas. The senior executive of the Demon Slayer division in front of him obviously does not recognize Zhu Zhengji's ideas and wants to overthrow them. Just in time to practice sword practice with you. Some time after entering the reborn realm, Lin Chuan felt that he could use the prototype of the 23 swords. This soul sword was an absolute killing move. It is more useful than the burning silence sword technique which requires the blessing of alien fire. After saying that, Lin Chuan took the lead in launching the attack. Pei Yangxing narrowed his eyes slightly and did not dare to underestimate him. If a monk who was 2 realms lower than him dared to take the initiative to attack, he must be hiding a trump card. In a daze, he saw a 9-tailed fox girl floating out from behind Lin Chuan with a smile in her eyes. Puff! Pei Yangxing's pressure suddenly surged, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. His body seemed to be pressed by a mountain, and his soul was also bound. He could exert less than 1/10 of his strength. You! Pei Yangxing's face turned red, he actually colluded with the demon clan. Tushan Zhaozhao yelled angrily, "Ha! What's wrong with the demon tribe? The demon tribe eats your rice. My husband and I are not colluding, we are true love." Nausea. Pei Yangxing dragged his heavy body and swung his sword to kill Lin Chuan, but his strength was severely suppressed, and he was only on par with Lin Chuan. After fighting dozens of moves, they still gradually fell into a disadvantage. For him, this is undoubtedly a shame. He was forced to become a sparring partner for a junior who was born out of the realm, but he still couldn't beat him. No wonder it is said that Qingyan Prefecture does not have a real inheritance of sword cultivation. It is indeed far behind. Lin Chuan thoughtfully said, "Zhao Zhao, let's expand his strength to the peak of the reborn realm." In the same situation, Lin Chuan is already invincible, and he can only find pressure by jumping up the ranks and fighting. Sword-like dances. There were more than 10 moves in the fight. Not enough. Lin Chuan shook his head. "Zhao Zhao, let him be promoted to the realm of divine soul. It is still a little far behind the artistic conception of using Sword 23, and the strength is not enough." Ah, Pei Yangxing was going crazy. After so many years of planning, he finally found an opportunity and became a stepping stone for a junior. His eyes were scarlet and he was roaring. "Blood Lotus, Supreme Blood Lotus, please give me strength." Blood energy surged out of Pei Yangxing's body. In the sky not far away, an illusory bloody lotus bloomed slowly, and mysterious scarlet power surged towards it. Is it really the pure world blood lotus? Lin Chuan was not surprised but overjoyed. Buddha's sun purifies the world. In reincarnation, the lotus of the purifying world can only produce one flower in an era. This is certainly not the case in the 9 phases realm. With the seeds of the pure world blood lotus in his hand, Lin Chuan can be said to have mastered the root of the blood lotus. The power of the blood lotus is just a nutrient to him. Pei Yangxing didn't notice the change in Lin Chuan's expression and went straight towards the scarlet power descended by the blood lotus. At the same time, Lin Chuan's sword intention was also concentrated to the extreme. Spiritual consciousness poured out in an instant and merged into the sword intention. The sword intention took shape, like a soul out of the body. The body was still where it was, but the sword soul came to Pei Yangxing and stabbed Pei Yangxing between the eyebrows with a sword. Pei Yangxing's eyes widened in disbelief. The scarlet power floated from his side and wrapped around Lin Chuan's arm, as if he was serving his master docilely. How is it possible? You are the master behind Blood Lotus. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.